What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
1TG. Chapter 1 The Encounter between Luo En and Ace. My name is Luo En. I traveled through time. Traveling from Blue Star to the pirate world. See Circle Calendar 1519. 3 years before Luffy went to sea. I was recruited as a pirate by a pirate group called Black Days. If I refused, they would kill me, and that's how I became a pirate. It's worth celebrating that cheat has arrived, the summation system. Summation system. Sum up the strength of all crew members and feed back to itself. The damn thing is, you have to be the captain to sue for peace. Looking at our captain's forearms that are thicker than my thighs, I gave up the idea of challenging him and hunkered down quietly. Later, the idiot captain accidentally killed a celestial dragons. I was very angry. How can such a king idiot be a captain? As expected, our pirate group was bloodbathed. Only I had the foresight to escape and welcome I am a wonderful future. Bah, bullshit wonderful future. I am pursued by Marine. Later, I met a very interesting guy, his name was Ace. I'm going to be exhausted if I don't fight anymore. Luo En lay on the lawn panting, sweating profusely, and refused to get up. In front of him was a handsome black-haired young man, wearing a yellow short-sleeved shirt, with a few obvious moderate tits on his face, and ASC tattooed on his arm, but the S was crossed out times. The young man smiled and said, Luo En, I haven't used the power of Mera fruit yet. Luo En was lying on the soft lawn, enjoying the peace after exhaustion. Hearing this, he raised his eyelids slightly and said feebly, Ace, if I hadn't been able to beat you, the captain's position would have been mine a long time ago. After identification, this is nonsense. Ace smiled, sat down next to Luo En, and quietly looked at the sparkling sea in the distance, his eyes full of yearning and longing. Only this sea can make him feel free. But suddenly, Ace noticed something, his expression changed, and he quickly dragged Luo En to his feet and ran towards their pirate ship. Ace, you are so inhumane. You don't even let me take a break. Before he could finish his words, Ace choked him back. Marine is catching up again. I saw a vague outline of a marine warship on the sea in the distance, shuttled on the sea, and the direction it looked at was heading towards the two of them. What's going on with these marines? Why are they chasing me so hard? This is already the 31st time. Isn't it the old man who sent someone to take me back? In half a month, Ace was a bit broken when faced with 31 marine pursuits. Although the sea is full of adventures, who can stand encountering marines twice a day on average? Is Marine just too idle? Ace even suspected an unreliable old guy. Naval headquarters, an old man who was eating senbei sneezed several times in succession. Who dares to scold me behind my back? Luo En looked at the marine flag appearing in the distance, touched his nose and remained silent. He knew that Marine's pursuit of Ace had nothing to do with him. But every time he wanted to explain, Ace would forcefully take the responsibility on himself and apologize to Luo En. Luo En said that such honest young men are rare these days. The two of them were riding in a small sailboat that could not be called a pirate ship. The oars in their hands were almost smoking, and they finally escaped once again. It quickly became dark. Luo En and Ace changed a small island to hide, preparing to spend a peaceful night and continue to go to sea tomorrow. Dinner was a game barbecue, and with Ace here, we didn't have to worry about the fire. Ace, how did you get the Mera fruit? Luo En lay sprawled on the ground, looking at the Big Dipper in the sky, and suddenly missed the Blue Star life. Beer dirty waste barbecue, one-stop pedicure and bathing, cough cough cough, serious people can only do the first half. Fortunately, the cheat has not been activated yet, and I have to run away with Ace, who has only been alive for a few years. No one can help but sigh, what a pair of desperate mandarin ducks. Ace has just been out to sea for half a month and has not gathered a crew yet, but he has already obtained the Mera fruit. As a half-sea ricer, he is very curious about the origin of the Mera fruit. Could it be that it was really left behind by Roger? Ace rested his hands on his head and said casually, I picked it up. Picked it up. Then you can pick one up for me, just any phantom beast species. Luo En said boldly. Just a random fantasy beast. You think devil fruit is Chinese cabbage. Ace twitched the corner of his mouth, suddenly wanting to curse, but he still held back. Seeing that Ace was silent, Luo En thought about becoming a captain. Although I can form my own pirate group, I don't have a crew, and there are marine soldiers chasing me behind me. If I didn't hold Ace in my arms, I'm afraid today would be my death anniversary next year. Bah, shitty death anniversary, how can there be time travel? Who celebrated his death anniversary? Am I going to be the first person to celebrate his death anniversary? Damn fake. He fell into deep self-doubt. Marine's efforts to arrest him were very strong, and at any rate, it was the life of a celestial dragons. Those involved, not even the 9 tribes, were sorry for the 3 words, celestial dragons. Today, the main problem Luo En faces is that he has no strength. You can't live without strength. In the end, Luo En turned his attention to Ace. By the way, Ace, what are you going to name the pirate group? Ace looked at the starry sky with calm eyes, not knowing what he was thinking, and replied casually, didn't I tell you? Spades. Spade. Sure enough, it was still the familiar name. Luo En calculated with his fingers that after leaving, Hey Dasho, and meeting, Spade, he would never be able to get along with, Hey, in this life. Then he changed the topic and said, how about you let me be the captain for a month and I will return it to you after 1 month. Ace simply refused, I don't want it. Then what do you want? One Piece. Luo En roared inwardly. Then he started to enlarge his moves and said seductively, Ace, you let me be the captain for a month. After 1 month, you can challenge me. If you win, you will be the captain. Isn't this simple for you? Ace was not tempted and said calmly, I am also the captain now, it is easier. Then I will exchange information that is very important to you. Luo En was persuasive. What information? Ace rolled his eyes, not very interested. Luo En's smile gradually turned cunning, and he said, about Sabo. Mr. Oda, it's not too much for me to spoil a few hundred episodes in advance, right? What are you talking about? How do you know Sabo? Ace sat up from the lawn with a look of shock on his face. Luo En spread his hands naturally and explained, don't worry about how I know. I can tell you seriously and responsibly that Sabo is still alive. Chapter 2 System Activation. One Piece Hereditary System. Sabo is still alive. A bolt from the blue. Ace's whole body froze, his pupils contracted violently, and he was greatly shocked inside. Luo En, don't joke about this. Sabo is my best brother. Ace's tone suddenly became stern after reacting. How could Sabo still be alive? It was he who saw him being hit by a cannonball. Because of the shock and excitement, Ace didn't even bother to wonder how Luo En knew about Sabo. Luo En stared into Ace's eyes and said sincerely, it's not a joke, Sabo is really still alive, but he has lost his memory. Ace suddenly stood up, his eyes full of hope but full of anger, his voice became hoarse and hoarse, that's enough. Luo En, I treat you as a friend, don't go too far. No normal person can accept this fact, let alone Ace. Sabo is the heaviest pain in his memory. I'm telling you just because I consider you a friend. I have the ability to see people's fate lines. I know this sounds a bit nonsense, but it's really true. Okay, even though it was originally bullshit. Quote. Ace opened his mouth, but his high quality still couldn't make him curse. Seeing that he still didn't believe it, Luo En directly activated the ultimate move, it seems that I have something you can believe. Gal D. Ace. He admitted that it was indeed a big gamble to dare to say this name in front of Ace. However, it turns out that gamblers do not end well. When Ace heard those 2 words, he immediately lost his composure. Like an angry beast, he rushed up and grabbed Luo En's collar. A flame came out from his back and spread along his arms, almost knocking Luo En out early, cremated. In the end, Ace tried his best to restrain himself. Fortunately, Ace remained calm and gained the upper hand. Not much, just a tiny bit. Luo En smelled the burnt smell coming from his hair and silently added in his heart. Ace's eyes were red and bloodshot, and his voice was hoarse, like the roar of a wild beast. Tell me, how on earth did you know? Only Sabo, Luffy and the old man know that he is Roger's son. Luo En, it's impossible to know. Luo En's heartbeat was like driving on the highway, soaring to 200, but he still pretended to be calm. He knew that since Ace didn't take action, it proved that he was already dubious. You, Sabo, and Luffy are sworn brothers. They are very important to you. Because of Sabo's death, you learned etiquette from Maginot, and you also had to take care of Luffy along with Sabo. You have been taken care of by Dayton before. Oh, it was the old man in your mouth who sent you to Dayton's house. As for who the old man is, do you need me to tell him his name? He is Luffy's grandfather. No need. Ace stopped him, preventing Luo En from continuing. There was no point in talking anymore. He believed it. Really believe it. The scar that he least wanted to mention was actually seen by Luo En. No, it was figured out. And there are more things that only he himself knows. Maybe, Luo En can really see the fate of others. Thinking of this, the flames of hope jumped in Ace's eyes, and he couldn't wait to ask, where is Sabo? Tell me where he is. He was a little excited, but also a little scared. If what Luo En said is false. Seeing this, Luo En waved his hand, habitually extending his middle finger, then silently replaced it with his index finger, and gestured, let me be the captain for a month. If you want to be the captain after 1 month, just follow the rules and win. Then I can. Ace nodded solemnly. Okay. I promise. Anyway, Luo En's strength is here. Let alone a month, even if he is given a year, he can't beat him. Ace still has this confidence. In comparison, Sabo's intelligence is more important. The smile on the corner of Luo En's mouth was a little weird, and he secretly said with joy, Saonian, I can tell you responsibly, your road is narrow. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Recruiting S-class crew members. Ace. Summation system activated. Close black lens bracket. Bound. Spades pirates. Open black lens bracket captain. Host Luo En close black lens bracket. Crew. Gal D. Ace. Close black lens bracket. Feedback on strength. Open black lens bracket ding. Feedback successful. Congratulations to host for acquiring the abilities Mera Mera Fruit, Conqueror's Hockey, and basic physical skills. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to host for receiving an activation gift package. Please check. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Recruit 10S class crew members and unlock bonus features. Current progress. 1/10. A series of unfamiliar mechanical sounds sounded in his mind, ethereal and beautiful, which made Luo En very intoxicated. A powerful warm current flowed through his body, and his strength quietly increased. I won't mention the ability of Mera fruit for now, and I can put basic physical skills aside for a while, but Conqueror's Haki is really awesome. In the pirate world, in the later stage, there are as many bullies as dogs, and those who don't bully are obviously inferior to others. There is even an activation gift package. The harvest is full. Luo En is very happy. Ace saw Luo En smiling with enjoyment, and felt a strange feeling in his heart. It seemed that he didn't do anything right. I promise you to be the captain for a month, please tell me the news about Sabo. With Ace's vigorous shaking, Luo En woke up from the immersion in joy and said truthfully, Sabo is in the Revolutionary Army and living a good life. He already has a wife, but look at you, you don't even have a serious pirate ship. Luo En sighed in his heart. Ace frowned. Revolutionary Army. He had only heard of the Revolutionary Army but did not understand it. He only knew that it was an organization that opposed the world government. Luo En pulled Ace over, looked around, and then whispered with confidence, I'll tell you a secret. The leader of the Revolutionary Army is Luffy's biological father. Huh, Luffy's father. Ace's eyes widened, and countless thoughts flashed through his mind. The old man is obviously a marine hero, but his son is actually the world's #1 criminal. Luffy's biological father, does he have to be called uncle? Ace rubbed his eyebrows with a headache, gradually regained his composure, and said, Luo En, I really hope what you said is true. If Sabo works under Luffy's father, he should have a good life, provided that Sabo is still alive. Luo En glanced at Ace with confidence and smiled brightly, Ace, there will be opportunities to verify it in the future. I believe we will be together for a long time in the future. Ace twitched his lips, we can't be together, but the words changed as he spoke, where are the revolutionary troops? Damn, world government and marine can't find the Revolutionary Army headquarters even if they search all over the world, you ask me. Luo En spread his hands and smashed them. Since becoming a 996 worker in his previous life, Luo En has only occasionally paid attention to the development of One Piece. His passion for pursuing the Pirate King when he was young has been wiped out by the boss's plan. He only knows that the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army was attacked by Blackbeard. As for the specific location, he has no idea. I have no idea, what is your name? Luo En said. Let him remember whose brother he is not my brother. Summation system. Sum the comprehensive strength and abilities of all crew members and feed them back to the host. Close black lens bracket. The feedback strength is permanent. Even if the crew quits or dies, it will not affect the strength previously fed back to the host. Close black lens bracket. Note. Host Devil Fruit's ability is not limited by the weaknesses of seawater and seastone. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 3 Universal Training Chamber. Target. 10S class crew members. Ace sat down on the ground, his thoughts very confused. Although he learned the news about Sabo, it was still unclear and he didn't know what to do for a while. Luo En turned to look at the confused Ace and comforted him. Don't worry, at least Sabo is safe. When you become the Pirate King, the whole sea will know your name. At that time, Sabo may regain his memory and come to you. Ace's eyes lit up and he said matter-of-factly, you're right. I want to become the Pirate King as soon as possible. He admitted that Sabo was still alive, which gave him sustenance and a reason to become stronger. But this inexplicable self-confidence can't stop Luo En. Brother, do you know that you still have 3 years to live? Become the Pirate King. It's better to go directly to your damn dad, who is also the Pirate King, to see if the Pirate King is hereditary. You can just complain about this in your mind, but never say it out loud. Luo En looked away from Ace, his eyes flashed, and he narrowed his eyes habitually, thinking in his heart, Ace's life is indeed short, but fortunately he met me. As the most handsome, enthusiastic, and kind-hearted captain in the world, how can I just watch my beloved crewmate die? He swore that it was definitely not because of the summation system that he was reluctant to part with Ace as a labor force. Ace lowered his head, as if thinking about something. The atmosphere of the fierce argument just now became quiet, with the quiet night sky above his head, and the chirping of insects all around him. Luo En was not talking, sitting casually on the lawn, savoring the feeling of having strength. By the way, I still have a big gift package that has not been activated. Luo En was so excited that he couldn't wait to summon the golden system panel that was only visible to him. Open black lens bracket host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Crew. Gall D. Ace. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mera fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Haki LV1 close black lens bracket. An activation gift package, waiting to be opened. Reward function unlocking progress, 1/10. Note. Levels are LV1, LV10. Luo En suppressed his excitement and said silently in his heart, "Open the gift package." Open black lens bracket ding. Open the big gift package. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host for obtaining the prop. Universal Training Chamber. Close black lens bracket. Universal Training Warehouse. It has a similar function to the time and spirit room next door. 1 hour in the training chamber is equivalent to 15 days outside. The limit is 1 hour per person per day, and 2 people can enter at the same time. The training warehouse can simulate any training scene, and has an automatic famous teacher system to guide the entrants in their training. Conqueror's Hockey, Devil Fruit abilities, skills and moves, and more are available. The training warehouse will speed up time, but for those who enter, the state when entering will be fixed and the passage of life will not be accelerated. Note: do you want to become stronger? What are you waiting for? Let your crew roll up. Universal Training Warehouse. What a great thing. Not only can it accelerate time, but it can also ensure that entrants will not consume excess life due to accelerated time. This is a plug-in. Luo En's eyes suddenly brightened. With the training warehouse, it would be more convenient and more confident for him to recruit crew members. Let me ask you this. 1 hour is equivalent to 15 days of hard work for others, who wouldn't want it? 1 hour a day is equivalent to 15 days, that is, as long as you use 25 hours in the training chamber, you can equal the results of the previous year's training. 25 hours of training in the training warehouse, including the CD effect, is less than a month. It's simply a tool for cheating. Even if it is a pig is a bit exaggerated, but as long as there is some potential, he will become a strong man who dominates the sea. With the Universal Training Warehouse, recruiting crew members can accelerate their growth. Luo En said. It doesn't matter whether he becomes stronger or not, the main thing is that he is willing to help others. After all, he likes selfless dedication. The next second, a blue bracelet-shaped tattoo appeared on Luo En's wrist, which allowed him to summon the training chamber at any time and retract it at any time, making it easy to carry. He sincerely lamented that the system is so humane. System, what does the reward function mean? Luo En asked in confusion. He heard this prompt when he activated the system just now, but he didn't bother to explore it in detail. Now he just wants to know more. Recruit 10 S-Class crew members and unlock bonus features. Reward function. S-Class crew members who enter the Universal Training Chamber will receive super rewards, abilities, weapons, etc., which can greatly improve the crew capabilities. Close black lens bracket. S-Class crew. Only those with great potential, strength are eligible to be rated as S-Class. Close black lens bracket. Luo En's pupils shrank when he heard the introduction of the system in his mind, and he was shocked. I didn't expect that the training warehouse can not only accelerate time, but also have such a powerful reward function. However, it can only be unlocked by recruiting 10 S-Class crew members. The conditions are really harsh. The 10 S-Class crew members dissipated a lot of Luo En's enthusiasm. The current ace belongs to the former, huge potential, but how many people have as much potential as ace? If he is strong, Luo En's current strength is not enough to recruit guys strong enough to be rated S. How to do this? Thinking of this, Luo En couldn't help but start thinking about the next plan. The first question. Survive. Survive Marine's pursuit. This issue has nothing to do with justice, only life and death. How to survive. Gain strength. How to gain strength. Recruit a crew. A perfect process. The key is, how to recruit crew members is a big problem. With the current strength of Luo En and Ace, it is absolutely impossible to directly recruit big pirates. Whitebeard, Kaido, etc. are all wishful thinking, so we can only start with guys with potential. They are weak now, but will be strong in the future. And the supernovas of the same era as Ace, except him, there is only one Cavendish. Luo En gave up decisively. Cavendish later became Luffy's younger brother. What about the seniors' cards? Now that there is a training warehouse, it means that the growth process can be accelerated. In this way, it would be more effective to start with the supernovas of Luffy's era. Anyway, the Universal Training Warehouse is enough for them to grow. When I become stronger, I can recruit more powerful guy. Especially Luffy's crew, their potential is not low. From the looks of it, I have no choice but to intercept Luffy. Luo En swears with the personality of celestial dragons that he is definitely for Zoro and Sanji's future fighting ability. He is definitely not greedy for the billowing Nami or the fair-skinned and beautiful Robin. Ahem. And that kid Luffy, he's definitely S-Class. God of the Sun, how should we trick him into boarding the ship? Luo En murmured in his heart, his thoughts flowing. According to Luffy's character, it seems impossible for him to work as a crew member for others. But Luo En couldn't bear to let go of the Sun God's ability. What should we do? Luo En was in trouble for a while. Chapter 4 Cheating in Practice. Ace's approval. Hey, it would be great if we could directly annex the 4 Emperors pirate group. Luo En sighed in his heart and then threw away those unrealistic thoughts. We still have to start from a down-to-earth perspective. He turned around and saw Ace in a daze, and said loudly, Ace, do you want to become the Pirate King? The sudden roar made Ace startled and muttered, it scared me, of course I want to become the Pirate King. Live unrestrainedly and freely on the sea. Luo En stood up, patted the grass clippings on his butt, showed a mysterious smile, stretched out his arm, the light on his wrist lit up, and a stream of light flashed. Ace felt his eyes blur as a huge thing appeared in front of him. A huge blue hut with a radius of 10 meters appeared in the open space in front of the two of them. Two deep purple doors opened in opposite directions on the left and right. The hut was about 5 meters high. There was a row of buttons beside the door, and even it has the function of enlarging the portal, and the upper part of the house is oval. The rest of the appearance has no decoration and looks very ordinary. Hey, what are you doing? Ace's eyes widened. It was hard to believe that such a huge thing suddenly appeared in front of him. Is this magic? Ace suddenly had a thought in his mind and said in surprise, Luo En, are you also demon fruit power? Aside from devil fruit's abilities, what happened before him was completely unexplainable. Luo En smiled confidently and explained, I am not demon fruit power. As for the scene you saw, you can understand it as science. Science. Ace looked at Luo En with suspicious eyes, becoming more and more confused. Luo En smiled, I originally wanted to get along with you as an ordinary person, but now that you have discovered it, I will show my hand. Actually, Luo En's smile became more and more mysterious. I'm a great scientist. The scientist. Luo En. Ace suddenly lost interest and said seriously, Luo En, I feel more and more that you are deceiving me. Damn it, little brother, do you still doubt me? Luo En immediately quit, put on a crossed pose, and introduced. This is called the Universal Cultivation Chamber, which can help people practice. Its specific function is that the flow rate of time is 360 times that of the outside world, and 1 hour is equivalent to 15 days. That's all. Ace seemed to have heard a fantasy, his face became stunned, and he said in disbelief, 360 times the time flow rate. 1 hour is equivalent to 15 days. Are you kidding? He didn't realize it himself, but the decibel level of his words was raised several levels due to the shock. Luo En rubbed his ears and pointed to the training warehouse confidently, you can feel it for yourself before you doubt me. Ace glanced at Luo En, then turned to look at the training warehouse. His curiosity still prompted him to open the door and walk in. Welcome to the Universal Training Warehouse. Please select the training content. As soon as Ace stepped into the training chamber, he heard a strange mechanical sound filling the space. Since only one person can enter a portal, Luo En just waited silently outside. Armament hockey, observation hockey, conqueror's hockey, Mera fruit abilities, physical skills, cooking skills, foreign languages. List a lot of options, or various skills, everything you want. Ace looked at the huge space inside and was stunned for a while. How come there is such a big space? Could it be that what Luo En said is true? From the outside, it looks like it's just the size of a house, but when you walk in, you feel like it's boundless, and the sky above is like a sky without any restrictions. It's like a separate space. But soon, Ace's attention fell on those options. Armament hockey. What is this? He murmured slightly confused. Immediately afterwards, armament hockey's narration and teachings rang out in the space, which made Ace fascinated and began to practice according to the instructions. Outside world. Luo En waited boredly. An hour later, the door of the training room was pushed open, and Ace walked out with an excited expression. Luo En, how did you do it? How can this training warehouse be so magical? Ace had a look of uncontrollable excitement on his face. It was obvious that he had spent a long time in the training chamber, definitely more than 10 days. But the strange thing is that he is doing high-intensity training inside, and his body does not feel any fatigue. This forced him to believe that what Luo En said was true. And after coming out, the bonfire that was just burning has not been extinguished, and even the largest tree has no obvious changes. This makes Ace completely believe what Luo En said, the Universal Training Warehouse can speed up the passage of time. This is amazing. Ace was extremely shocked, with disbelief written all over his face. Madara's bird was even more obvious under the firelight, and her eyes widened unconsciously. What's even more amazing is that it can speed up the passage of time, but it will not speed up the passage of life. So, you can exchange someone else's 15 days of cultivation results in 1 hour. Luo En crossed his arms and introduced with great pride. Little brother, do you know how powerful I am this time? How on earth was this done? Luo En, what are your abilities? Ace frowned, suddenly feeling that he couldn't see through Luo En. The guy who he could easily defeat before suddenly became mysterious. Luo En raised his head, waved his hand and said, it's just a small trick, it's a benefit to the crew. From now on, you can make good use of the Universal Training Warehouse to practice. The harder you practice, the stronger I will become. You said I can use this training chamber to practice in the future. Ace was shocked again. Luo En is so selfless. Ace was a bit confused at this time. Luo En was not as powerful as him. Now that he has a magical weapon for cultivation, why would he give it to him? Luo En nodded and said in a natural tone, of course, since you are now my crew member, of course I will give you the greatest help. Ace's eyes lit up and he said unkindly, I will become the captain in 1 month, will you still let me use the training chamber? Ace's heart moved, and he guessed that Luo En wanted to use the training warehouse to negotiate terms with him. But what Luo En said next made Ace completely admire this man. Of course, the training warehouse will belong to our pirate group from now on. It has nothing to do with anyone being the captain. Luo En said it with righteousness and selflessness. At this moment, Ace recognized Luo En from the bottom of his heart. He silently vowed that even if he became the captain a month later, he would take extra care of Luo En. Luo En is his first partner. Luo En had a faint smile on his lips, not knowing that he got Ace's approval by accident. He just thought, Ace will never be able to play the position of captain no matter what. Chapter 5 Shimsky Village. Zoro. 3 days later. Luo En and Ace were riding a small sailboat and were looking for the direction to Shimsky Village. Hey, Luo En, why are you going back? Ace muttered dissatisfiedly. Due to the training warehouse and his status as captain, he still gave Luo En some face. After all, this is the captain of the current sailing ship. Go find someone. Luo En smiled mysteriously. How could Luo En, the future greatest swordsman, be willing to let go? Ace pouted, leaned against the side of the ship, and suddenly said, Marine has been chasing us for so long, why don't you let me kill them? Isn't it natural for pirates to beat Marine? Luo En rolled his eyes. Is it natural for pirates to fight Marine? If that old guy Garp is here, Shangdu will fight for you. It's not the time yet. Luo En said calmly, not wanting to explain more. That's the Marine who's chasing him. How could it be a small fight? If there is a vice admiral on the ship, and he and Ace attack, but end up falling into a trap, Ace will probably be saved by Garp. Anyway, no one knows Ace's true identity now, and Ace is not a big pirate. What about Luo En? Naturally, it will end in death. He doesn't have Ace's background. Maybe Garp knew he was Ace's captain and might even take action himself. At the thought, Garp rolled up his sleeves and approached him step by step. At the same time, he laughed excitedly and said, You are the guy who kidnapped Ace to become a pirate, and you finally fell into my hands. Ha 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 ha. Luo En felt terrible just thinking about it, and secretly swore, he who rides on a horse must hold back. If something goes wrong, there is no resurrection armor. After all, he can almost grow without limit, so why bother to gain momentum? Originally, Luo En planned to recruit tens of thousands of ordinary pirates as his subordinates in East Blue, and slowly build up his own strength. However, his plan was ruthlessly extinguished by the system. Not all rubbish strength can seek peace. Close black lens bracket. The implication is that you should not use some garbage to tarnish the great functions of this system. Yes, a road is blocked again. If East Blue's trash doesn't work, go to Grand Line. If Grand Line's garbage doesn't work, then go to New World. You can't go to New World's pirates, it's still garbage, right? All the manatees in the New World can master hockey. Anyway, as long as you can feed back a little strength, it will be enough. When the number of people increases, it will bring a qualitative change to Luo En. However, Luo En still has a long way to go before going to the New World. So Luo En honestly began to think about recruiting a strong crew. Okay, you're the captain now. Regarding Luo En's perfunctory attitude, Ace muttered angrily and secretly made up his mind. When the 1-month deadline came, he must let Luo En know why the flowers were so red. Luo En seemed to have seen through Ace's thoughts, and the smile on his lips spread. He still wants to be the captain. Hurry up and get ready to work hard for me. For the past 3 days, Ace has practiced up to the time limit in the training warehouse every day. It can be said that a month and a half has passed in the blink of an eye, and Ace's strength has also improved slightly. What do you think you can do in a month and a half? Luffy went out to sea for 3 months to participate in the Summit War. What can you do in 1.5 months? Ace spent a month and a half polishing his body. Not only did he successfully master armament hockey, he also awakened the color of knowledge and was able to release Conqueror's hockey. Of course, he can't control Conqueror's hockey yet, he just finds the switch. Physical skills and the use of Mera fruit have been greatly improved. The role of the Universal Training Warehouse is reflected. The training guidance inside will improve Ace's strength every time. Maybe the guidance effect is second only to teacher guy's stick guidance. Open black lens bracket host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades pirates. Crew. Gall D. Ace. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mera fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket armament hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills LV4 close black lens bracket. Strength. Senior Colonel. As for why Luo En knows Ace's strength so clearly, of course it's because he and Ace are completely incompatible. What are you doing leaning there? Get up and row the boat quickly. Luo En couldn't help laughing and ordered in a pretentious manner. Ace gritted his teeth angrily and swore fiercely, Luo En. Just wait a month and I will become the captain again. Then reluctantly he shook the oar. Ace still strictly abides by the agreement the two made at that time. After all, he is a person with a bottom line. As for Luo En, what's the bottom line? He only knows the hairline. The hairline can be moved back, but I wonder if the bottom line can be moved back. However, rowing is not an issue all the time. The process of finding Frankie must be started quickly. When the time comes, we will build a unique boat, preferably one that can reach the sky and the earth. Luo En thought silently. Although Frankie is not very serious, it is undeniable that he is a genius in shipbuilding, and he may even be an S-class sailor. Seymour Shiki Village. AKA Shimsky Village. Ishin Dojo. Ta. Tap ta. There was a knock on the door. A staff member of the dojo opened the door. Although he saw two kids knocking on the door, he still said very politely, "Sorry, our dojo is not accepting apprentices for the time being. Please leave. I'm very sorry." Ace is only 17 years old and is indeed a brat. But Luo En is 18 years old and an adult. At this age, he can already reasonably do some unseemly things, serious things. Ace picked up his cowboy hat, smiled smartly, and said seriously, "Hello, we are pirates, not here to be apprentices." He wants to be an apprentice, he wants to be the pirate king. The corners of the staff member's mouth twitched, and they were two little kids who wanted to be pirates. "So. You are here to cause trouble." His tone had become unkind. "Get out of the way, don't let people misunderstand me. I'm the captain." Luo En quickly pulled Ace behind him and smiled kindly at the staff. "Hello, we are passing by to stay overnight. I wonder if we can let us stay for 2 days. We are so hungry." The appearance of Luo En is very similar to that kind of down-and-out young man who went to sea to become a pirate with passion, but was beaten by reality. He is a young man, not a teenager. I have to say that Luo En has a very good attitude. He was afraid that the dojo would sacrifice Shimotsuki Koshiro if he disagreed. After all, there is a popular saying that anyone who squints his eyes is a monster. Luo En said that he had never seen Shimotsuki Koshiro's eyes in all those years of following him. "That's it. I'll go ask the owner for instructions." Seeing that Luo En had a good attitude, the staff did not deliberately make things difficult. Trouble. Luo En smiled. Chapter 6 Zoro's Rejection. After a while, the staff returned and allowed the two of them to come in. "Come in, the owner agrees that you can stay temporarily." "Thank you very much." Luo En and Ace thanked politely. Entering the dojo, Luo En kept looking around. It was indeed an ordinary venue that could not be found in an ordinary venue. I wonder if Shimotsuki Koshiro is the boss. Is it possible to recruit him to the ship? Luo En thought secretly in his heart, but when he raised his head, he met the real owner. "Master, this is the kid who wants to stay here. This is the master of our Yishin dojo." The staff introduced. "Haha, hello, you can call me Master Shimotsuki." Shimotsuki Koshiro, dressed in a samurai kimono, said with a smile. "Master Shimotsuki, my name is Luo En and his name is Ace. It's really troublesome for you to come here without permission." Luo En said very politely. Shimotsuki Kozaburo looked like he was smiling, squinting his eyes. "Luo En, Ace, what a good name. It's no trouble. You go down and prepare some food for them." He turned to give instructions to the staff, and then said to Luo En, "You can go with him, I have to teach my disciples swordsmanship. Then I won't waste the museum owner's time." Both parties nodded and left in a harmonious atmosphere. Luo En muttered with confirmation in his heart. "Yeah, I can see clearly, I can't really see the eyes." The staff led the two people to a room and prepared the food within a short time. Luo En and Ace were completely invisible and ate with open stomachs. The staff looked confused and became more and more convinced that these two people were poor children who had not eaten for several days. After almost eating, Luo En started chatting with the staff. After getting acquainted with each other, Luo En showed his true face. "Well, I want to inquire about someone." "Who do you want to ask about?" the staff member asked casually without paying attention. "Roronoa Zoro, I'm telling you, in the entire dojo, no one can defeat Zoro in swordsmanship except Shimotsuki, the master of the gym. Despite this, he still trains hard every day. Once, when other martial arts schools came to compete, Zoro chopped down everyone with 3 bamboo swords. And that time, Zoro. Do you know how he uses the third knife? He bites it in his mouth, you can't imagine it." Along the way, the staff led the way and introduced Zoro non-stop, with a sense of pride evident in their words. Roronoa Zoro, the card of the dojo. Luo En's ears were about to get calluses. He wanted to tell this big brother to stop talking. He knew more about Zoro than anyone else, but out of humanitarianism, people had to bow their heads under the roof, so Luo En still endured it. After holding on for a while, we finally came to a pool. The water of the waterfall pours down, making a roaring sound. At the edge of the pool, a figure with a green algae head that was somewhat familiar to Luo En was holding a huge stone and squatting up. His clothes had been wet with sweat, but he showed no intention of stopping. Luo En nodded secretly, with a hint of appreciation in his expression. He was indeed Zoro, and his character was as stable as ever. "Zoro, these two boys said they were looking for you." The staff member pulled his neck and howled so loudly that it almost caused Luo En to restart again. He rubbed his ears and sighed silently. He couldn't tell that everyone in this gym was hiding their secrets. The Hedong lion's roar could not reach this level without 20 years of skill. Zoro didn't respond, still working out. The staff led Luo En and Ace closer, and then Zoro said, 8,771. "Who are you?" 8,772. 8,773. Luo En showed a kind and bright smile and said seriously, "Can't you tell? I am a sunny and cheerful boy." Ace. Luo En. What the hell are you talking about? Staff member. What the hell is this sunny and cheerful boy? Zoro. He suddenly stopped holding the boulder and almost lost all his strength. Ahem. Seeing that you are practicing so hard, let's liven up the atmosphere. Luo En explained under Ace's murderous gaze, and then explained seriously. My name is Luo En, and he is my partner, Ace. Zoro. 8776.8777. Zoro responded coldly. A little arrogant. Luo En rubbed his chin and thought, but did not speak in a hurry. Instead, he dismissed the staff first and then waited here for Zoro to finish training. I do not know how long it has been. The sun yawned, swaying and sinking. Unknowingly, half of the body fell below the sea level, while the other half exuded the afterglow, filling the vast and boundless sky with a gorgeous sunset glow. Luo En was a little sleepy while waiting, and Zoro finally ended the training. But he ended the training because it was time to eat, not because the training was over. Zoro's whole body was wet with sweat, and his clothes fit snugly around his body, revealing his delicate muscle lines. Although Zoro is only 16 years old and his face can still be seen as childish, his figure is really awesome. What's wrong with you? Zoro suddenly said as he passed by Luo En, picking up Hidao Yuan. Luo En yawned, rubbed his tears, stood up from the stone, smiled at Zoro and said, "Make a friend, do you still remember my name?" Zoro was silent. Yeah, forget it. Luo En sighed in his heart, and once again solemnly introduced, "My name is Luo En." Remember, Zoro said calmly, appearing uninterested in making friends. Luo En followed Zoro, chatting about everything, and walked side by side to the canteen. In the cafeteria, Zoro was busy cooking, while Luo En was still chatting. There is a saying, the feelings between people are all created by talking. By the way, Zoro, what are your plans in the future? Luo En stared at Zoro and got to the point quietly. Zoro swallowed the food in his mouth and said calmly, I plan to go to sea in a while to challenge someone. Going to sea? What are your plans? No plan. What about eating? Just do whatever you have to do. Zoro said nonchalantly, as if he didn't think about anything else except naming the moves. Luo En opened his mouth and found that the words he had prepared became weak. Well, that's Zoro's character. Why don't you join us? Seeing Tukchong dagger, Locke took the initiative to solicit. Zoro looked back and forth between Luo En and Ace, and finally shook his head, not interested. The lone wolf is Zoro's character now. Rejection is natural. Chapter 7. Let our names ring in heaven. If you want to become the world's best swordsman, you'd better join us. Luo En said seriously. Zoro was stunned when he was told the central issue. How do you know? I don't accept mediocre people on my ship. Ace is the man who wants to become the pirate king, and you want to become the world's greatest swordsman. I will help you in my own way. Join us, Zoro. Let's pursue our dreams together. Fight. Luo En's eyes were filled with hope, which made Zoro feel sincere enough. Zoro opened his mouth, One Piece. Although he had some doubts about whether Luo En was reliable, Zoro didn't say anything. He knew that every dream deserves respect. I'm still not interested. I will become the world's greatest swordsman myself. Let my name ring through the heavens. Zoro said arrogantly and proudly. Damn, I still haven't experienced social beatings, Luo En complained in his heart. Then looking around, Luo En mysteriously led Zoro to a remote place outside the cafeteria, and directly used the final move, the Universal Training Chamber. When Luo En finished introducing the effects of the training chamber, Zoro was stunned. Then he said 3 words. I don't believe it. It can be said that no normal person would believe it. You can feel it for yourself before making a conclusion. Luo En said with a smile, his voice seemed to be full of seductive magic, making Zoro walk into the training room involuntarily. Welcome to the Universal Training Warehouse. Please select the training content. As soon as Zoro stepped into the training chamber, he heard the same mechanical sound filling the space as when Ace first entered. Swordsmanship, armament hockey, observation hockey, physical skills, shipbuilding technology, medical skills, cooking skills, foreign languages. What is this? Is what he said true? No matter what, since you're here, let's give it a try. Zoro raised his eyebrows, feeling surprised and choosing swordsmanship without hesitation. Then the scene changes, bringing Zoro into the teaching battle. Time passed unconsciously. Zoro feels very strange. He clearly feels the passage of time, at least the past few days have passed, but he is still in a lively state, without feeling hungry or tired. What's even more terrifying is that the swordsmanship training is completely aimed at him, invisibly making up for many extremely obvious shortcomings, and strengthening the slashing, especially when Zoro learns about the existence of Zantetsu. But when the time comes, all training ends. Zoro shook his head regretfully, still unable to master the secret of Zant. Zant, it's really not that easy to master. Whispering, Zoro walked out of the training room. He was full of energy, and even had an invisible fierceness about him. However, when Zoro looked outside, he found nothing had changed. After all, only an hour had passed. It's not completely dark yet. In the cafeteria, the plates he had just finished eating were still there. The surrounding light was similar to when he entered, indicating that not much time had really passed. It is true. This is a room that can speed up the flow of time. Zoro's eyes lit up. Not only can it speed up time, but it also provides specialized guidance and simulated training scenarios. Zoro has grown tremendously and overcome many problems in just one day. Think about it. Do you want to join us? Luo En's voice sounded at the right time. A cool smile appeared on Zoro's lips, and he extended his palm. You are indeed an interesting guy, I'll join you. Open black lens bracket ding. Successfully recruited S-class crew. Rornoa Zoro close black lens bracket. Current progress. 2/10. Welcome. Luo En chuckled and extended his palm as well. Snapped. High five. It's like making an agreement between men. As promised, if you can't become the world's best swordsman, I will kick you off the ship. Luo En breathed a sigh of relief and joked. Captain, I won't let you down. Zoro hugged Hidao Yuen and spoke confidently. He seemed to be a lonely and desolate swordsman on the Hanjiang River, finding a ferry at this moment. Wait, the future captain is me. He will only be the captain for a month. After hearing this, Ace finally realized something was wrong and quickly stood up from the stone to explain. Why did he suddenly feel as if his spade pirates were getting further and further away from him? Ha ha ha. Don't care about these details. Luo En said excitedly, full of hope. I'm waiting for the day when you become the pirate king and the world's best swordsman respectively. Let the names of all of us ring through the sea, through the heavens. Resound throughout heaven. Zoro raised his arms and said excitedly. Ace. Ring to heaven. Wait. I am the captain. Ace retorted weakly. Why does he feel that the word captain is getting further and further away from him? He founded the Spade Pirates, okay. 3 days later, it was still a dull morning, with calm sunlight shining on the sea, making the waves sparkle. A small boat shuttled on the sea, its oars shaking. It was Luo En, Ace, and Zoro who were bidding farewell to Shimotsuki Koshiro. After Zoro joined, Luo En finally escaped from the fate of working as a coolie as a captain. Ace and Zoro shook the oars one after another and moved forward in the direction chosen by Luo En. Luo En had nothing to do and opened the panel. Open black lens bracket host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Crew. Gal D. Ace. Rornoa Zoro. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mara Mara fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Armament Hockey LV2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Physical Skills LV5 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Swordsmanship LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Strength Commodore close black lens bracket. For the first time since time travel, Luo En felt the beauty of strength. And with Zoro's strength feedback, his physical skills level has broken through to level 5, which is one level higher than Ace, and his strength barely reaches the level of Commodore. After reaching the general level, the improvement in strength is not only about physical skills, but more importantly, hockey. However, Ace and Zoro have just come into contact with and mastered hockey, so the levels of armed color and knowledge color are not high. As for now, Ace wants a challenge. Then come on, it's just that you will never succeed in challenging it. Even if you are N, I will always be N plus 1. Infinity less than infinity plus 1. Chapter 8 The Man Called God. The three of them sailed forward in the boat, traveling during the day and finding a small island to rest at night. At the same time, they used the indicators of Ace and Zoro's training warehouse for that day. Every day that passes, Ace and Zoro's strength increases at a rate of 15 days. Luo En is growing at a rate of 30 days. As for why it wasn't 45 days, that's because Luo En was persuaded to quit as soon as he entered the training warehouse. He has no talent for training. Although it was miserable, Luo En accepted it happily. It seems that from now on, I will have to live a peaceful life. On the third day after setting off from Shimotsuki village, Luo En encountered a group of pirates. When the two sides met, Ace opened his fire fist. Fortunately, Luo En reacted quickly enough, stopped Ace in time, and eliminated the pirate leader that the opponent was proud of, which was about as rubbish as ensign. Then Luo En took over the ship, and the pirate flag was changed to black, peach, word. Swap bikes for motorcycles. He also recruited a group of young men with the strength of Zan Wuza. There were exactly 10 of them. They were responsible for sailing, working and other miscellaneous things on the ship. However, the strength of this group of Zan Wuza people was not within the standard for suing for peace of workers. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. It has been 5 days since the group set out for Shimotsuki village. Open black lens bracket host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Crew. Gal D. Ace. Rornoa Zoro. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mara Mara fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Armament Hockey LV4 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey LV3 close black lens bracket. Physical Arts LV6. Open black lens bracket Swordsmanship LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Strength. Rear Admiral close black lens bracket. Comma. Open black lens bracket Crew. Ace close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mara Mara fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Armament Hockey LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey LV2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills LV5 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket strength. Commodore close black lens bracket. Comma. Crew. Zoro. Pirates. Spades pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket armament hockey LV2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey LV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket swordsmanship LV3 close black lens bracket. Strength. Major. Thanks to the training warehouse, Ace and Zoro have been practicing for the equivalent of 75 days, and their strength has been fully improved. Luo En even directly broke through Rear Admiral's strength with the feedback of the two's strength. Hockey's growth is also very rapid in the early stage, and will gradually weaken compared to later growth. And if Luo En wants to break through again, it may not be that easy. After all, Vice Admiral's strength has allowed him to gain a firm foothold on the sea. Fortunately, with Zoro's strength feedback, Luo En's strength is still better than Ace's. It's just that the current Zoro is 3 years ahead of schedule when Luffy went overseas. His strength is still in the stage of consolidation and he still needs a lot of room for growth. This day, several people finally arrived at their destination, Zailuobu village. Luo En's target is the man who will be called God in the future, Usopp. Although Usopp is still a 15-year-old kid, it does not affect his potential. After all, no one except Luo En would be so crazy as to use the training chamber to exploit the crew. After landing on the island, Luo En first visited Kaya's house and expressed his willingness to stay overnight. Kaya's parents were still alive. Seeing that the other party was just a child, they didn't think much about it and readily agreed. Here, Luo En met Crow. This year was the time when Crow faked his death, escaped from his shell, and settled in Kaya. However, Luo En ignored the other party, and the two parties spent a peaceful night together. Luo En went to the village to look for Usopp the next day. Hey, the captain is here, all the bad guys prepare to die. From far away, Luo En could hear these kind of second-rate words. Who else could it be if it wasn't Usopp? Several children around him looked at him with admiration. Oh, I didn't expect to meet other pirate groups here. I am the captain of the Spade Pirates. I will try my best to compete with you. Luo En put his hands in his pockets and walked up to his opponent without knowing what it meant. Go. Usopp, who had a dark complexion, a dry face, a long nose, and a childish face looked blankly at the young man who was much taller than him. His legs could not help but tremble with fear, and his voice trembled. Who are you? Quote. I am the captain of the Spade pirate ship. Usopp, accept my challenge. Luo En was playful and deliberately intimidated Usopp. When Usopp heard that the other party turned out to be a pirate, he became even more frightened, and a hint of paleness could be seen under his dark skin. You wait. I will summon my subordinates. This captain has 8,000 subordinates, you'd better be careful. Usopp's character is still that timid guy who likes to talk big. Luo En smiled. Usopp, stop pretending, come with me honestly, I will make you a great sea warrior. Before Usopp could give in, Luo En gave him a lesson, showing his strength to make the opponent unable to resist. How about it? Do you want to join? Luo En said with a smile. This is the first time Usopp realizes that narrow eyes are monsters. I'll join. Usopp covered his face and whispered. Luo En's lesson made it impossible for him to pretend to be the boss in front of the children. Besides, being a pirate has always been his dream. The most important thing is that he has no room for resistance. Open black lens bracket ding. Successfully recruited S-class crew. Usopp close black lens bracket. Current progress. 3/10. Chapter 9 Your name is, Klo. Don't be afraid, I will be one of my own from now on, and I won't treat you badly. Luo En comforted Usopp and said with a smile. It can be said that in his plan, Usopp is the easiest to conquer. But to Luo En's surprise, Usopp turned out to be an S-class crew member, filling one of his crew quotas. This was definitely an unexpected surprise. The current Usopp is nothing but useless. In short, he is useless. But this does not affect his potential and future achievements. Luo En follows a nurturing flow and is not in a hurry. And if even Usopp is S-class, then everyone else must be S-class too. Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook. Luo En was counting his fingers in his mind and found that even including Luffy, there was only one person left to make up 10 S-class crew members. Luo En's goal is to activate the reward function before entering the new world, so that he will have the tyranny to recruit more people, so he also has to find a way to get another S-class crew member. But when Luo En returned to Kaya's house, an accident happened. Led by Kaya's parents, more than 30 villagers armed with hoes, kitchen knives, shovels and other weapons surrounded Ace and Zoro. I didn't expect them to be pirates. Yeah, he looks young, but I didn't expect him to be a pirate. Catch them and send them to Marine. Send it to Marine. The villagers were noisy, but seeing Ace's gloomy face and Zoro's cold face, no one dared to take action. Stop. Luo En led Usopp over, scaring the crowd into automatically branching out. He's with them. Quick, don't let him get away. Usopp, why are you with a pirate? Okay, you must be the one who got through the pirates and led them here. It's okay to lie to me, but I didn't expect you to go so far. Send him to Marine along with the pirates. The villagers found a place to vent their anger and kept shouting. I said enough. Luo En's face darkened and his smile disappeared. He had already noticed Crow hidden in the crowd. He had a sinister smile on his lips and was staring at Luo En. We found this place by ourselves and have nothing to do with Usopp. But from now on, he is my partner. If you dare to accuse him even a word, I will chop off your heads. Luo En said coldly. There was an invisible and powerful aura about him, which instantly shocked all the villagers. The villagers were so frightened that they retreated involuntarily. Usopp suddenly felt a sense of belonging in his heart. He wanted to get attention from him since he was a child, but now he was taken seriously. He looked at Luo En's back and silently recited Luo En's words just now, feeling warm in his heart. He couldn't help but be surprised. Is this what it feels like to be a partner? When Zoro saw Luo En, he walked behind him and whispered, it's really troublesome. It would be much easier if I were a pirate. If they were all pirates, why bother? Just cut them down. Ace breathed a sigh of relief. You're finally here. If you don't come, we'll have to take action. Luo En nodded and said, don't worry, I will take care of the matters here. After saying that, he took a step forward and said loudly, everyone, I come here with no ill intentions. As for what you think of us, I don't care. We are about to set off anyway. But there is one thing I have to remind you. That is, Crow is the pirate who commits many evil deeds, and he is the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, who faked his death and escaped. Right, Crow. Luo En smiled and looked at Crow, who was wearing glasses and had a gentle look on his face. If it wasn't what he expected, the fact that they were pirates was caused by Crow's obstruction. If that's the case, then don't live. This is the second time Luo En has murderous intention towards a person. The first person to be the captain of the Black Day pirate group. Luo En thought of Hey Dasho again, and after some calculations, he found out that he was really destined to Hey in his life. He first joined Hey Dasho, later became the captain of Spade, and now he meets Black Cat Pirates. Why is the word black so important? Crow's smile froze when his identity was exposed, and his eyes were full of shock. How did the young man in front of him know about the identity he had managed to hide? What did you say? Crow is a pirate. How is that possible? He discovered your identity. Something's wrong. They don't seem to be good people. Some villagers became vigilant. Crow, tell us the truth, are you a pirate? A bold villager asked behind Crow. Ha ha ha, since you are seeking death, let me help you. I will kill everyone here. Because you forced me to do this. Crow didn't expect that his true identity would be revealed just after hiding for a few days. The other party knows his true identity, and there is no point in hiding it. If this is the case, then eradicate everyone and find a way to hide his identity. He still hasn't shed the pirate's anger. Looking at the frightened villagers, Luo En said kindly, you can leave first and come back after settling the matter here. The crowd suddenly dispersed, and Kaya's family also ran away. I'm curious, how on earth do you know my identity? Crow smiled sinisterly and unconsciously pushed up his glasses with his palms. Usopp was stunned, and he didn't expect to encounter two pirate groups fighting each other as soon as he joined. He secretly swore in his heart that he would join whoever wins. Or, while the two parties are fighting, he runs away. Usopp failed to live up to expectations and began to retreat. Chapter 10 Conqueror's Power. Luo En squinted his eyes habitually and looked at Crow. It is said that Crow is the guy whose brain is second only to Beckman. Originally, Luo En was hesitant to recruit him on the ship, but now he has decided that he will not let Crow on the ship. Reason. Very simple. He doesn't like Crow. Luo En doesn't like that feminine and cunning temperament. Moreover, maybe he will be the sixth one behind the scenes at some point, unlike Ace and Zoro who have a bottom line. I can see through a person's fate. Luo En said seriously, nonsense. Ace's eyes flashed and he thought to himself, sure enough, he does have this ability. Crow's incident allowed Ace to be verified. Maybe Luo En's words were true and Sabo was still alive. Otherwise, how could Luo En reveal the hidden identity of Crow, whom he had only met once? Luo En didn't know that a strange combination of circumstances would increase his weight in Ace's heart. Seeing through a person's fate. Stop talking nonsense. Crow smiled sadly, obviously not believing it. He waved to the distance, and Zhangao, who was hiding in the dark, and the Cat brothers Butch and Sam led the pirate group to rush over from a distance, surrounding the four Luo En. They had just sneaked in here, and before they left, they encountered the current situation. Luo En narrowed his eyes, Ace had a smile on his lips, Zoro put his hand on the knife expressionlessly, and only Usopp, his legs were visibly shaking, as if he was about to urinate. Luo En sighed in his heart. The strong character he created was destroyed by Usopp. He must train Usopp every day in the future, otherwise what will happen to the pirate group's cards? No matter who you are, you will die here today, Crow said boldly. The pirates shouted excitedly in response. Luo En frowned, it was so noisy. Ace, let them see what it means to be a king. Ace's smile spread when he heard this. It seemed that he, the real captain, had to take action. Buzz. His pupils shrank, and a wild beast-like vigor erupted, centering on him, spreading in a circular shape like a tidal wave. Boom. The vigor passed by, making the pirates feel dizzy, rolling their eyes and fainting. Even the Catman brothers and Zhangao were swaying, and they struggled to stand firm. What is this? What a terrifying momentum. They were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect that Ace didn't take any action at all and almost wiped out their pirate group. Crow was shocked. Is this the legendary Conqueror's haki? Others are a little stupid. Also dumbfounded was Luo En. He helped the unconscious Usopp, the corners of his mouth twitching. Is this considered accidental injury? Ace's Conqueror's haki is just a group shock. To put it bluntly, it is a release that does not distinguish between friend and foe. Luo En and Zoro can naturally hold on. But the 15-year-old Usopp is different. He is a rookie. I was careless. There was no dodge. Luo En carried Usopp expressionlessly, then turned around and said, give you two a chance to perform in front of the captain. Who wants to challenge them alone? Ace couldn't help but roll his eyes, naturally thinking that Luo En was the one who asked them to take action because of his lack of strength, and said helplessly, actually, I would rather see the captain show off his kamui. I'm giving you a chance to show off. Luo En said loudly, full of momentum. Ace had a dark look on his face, and he swore in his heart. 1 month, just this 1 month. 1 month later, he wouldn't be able to wait for a single minute, and he would definitely take back the captain's position. Then Ace took a step, and Zoro also took a step. Their targets were all Crow. Do Zhangao and the Cat brothers have no face? Crow's expression was completely unbearable. He was the nickname, by G, and had a reward of 16 million. You all go to hell. Crow puts on the cat claw gloves and attacks. Since there was no house behind him, Ace naturally used his fire fist. The roaring flames roared into the sky, and the surrounding air instantly became dry. The sky-high fire seemed to burn the island, and the colors were gorgeous. This is Devil Fruit ability. Crow's eyes widened, feeling a little unbelievable. This is East Blue. Why did he meet a Logia user? Is he so unlucky? Crow, who is known as 100 Strategies, was dumbfounded. The next battle has nothing to do with Luo En. He quietly stepped aside with Usopp. Fight without any suspense. Although Zoro is not that strong yet and it is difficult to fight against the Cat brothers, he has armament haki. At this stage, armament haki is invincible. You know, at that time, Enies Lobby and even Iron Body could stand up and use them as skills. Armament haki was not sure how much more advanced than him, at least even Crow couldn't break through the defense. As for Crow versus Ace, he was completely crushed. After easily defeating Crow's group, Luo En and others chose to leave, taking the newly awakened Usopp with them. Usopp looked at the scene in front of him in horror. All the thoughts in his heart were thrown away, and he chose to follow Luo En honestly. He finally realized that real pirates are too scary. Chapter 11 Nami is a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Luo En and others returned to the pirate ship, woke up the 10 handyman pirates who were praised by hypnosis, and then left here. As for the heads of Crow and others in exchange for the bounty, Luo En has no such plan. He doesn't want to attract Marine's attention for the time being. On the second day of the voyage, an unexpected guest came to the ship. Luo En was lying on the deck chair, basking in the sun lazily. Observation Haki noticed the strange movement in the cabin, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and murmured, I didn't expect him to come to my door. You can't run away this time. The training chamber was placed on the deck. Zoro and Ace came out of training at the same time, and their expressions suddenly tightened. There's someone in the cabin. Ace's eyes turned cold. Luo En waved his hand and said, it's okay, maybe he's here to join us. After saying that, Luo En quietly walked to the storage warehouse with Ace and Zoro. There are indeed some treasures in the warehouse, left behind by the previous pirate group. As for Usopp, Luo En drove him to the training warehouse to practice. If he doesn't hurry up and improve his strength, by the time he reaches the new world, his god will really be eliminated. Click. The storage bin door opens. Inside, a girl with short orange hair, a pretty face, and an underdeveloped figure turned her head in astonishment, her face instantly becoming panicked. She was still filling her bag with treasures. The scene was awkward for a while. What a coincidence. Luo En greeted with a smile, without looking angry at all. Nami. She doesn't look so charming. Yes, the uninvited guest on the ship is none other than Nami. All the coincidences seem to be destined. Oh, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. Who are you? Nami said, pretending to be calm, looking around for an escape route. Ace took 2 steps to the right, stood in front of the window, and said loudly, you are stealing our treasure, who do you think we are? Nami's escape route was completely blocked. She immediately put down the treasure and waved her hands with sweat on her face. No, I just want to borrow some treasure. Don't get me wrong. The treasure is all here and will be returned to you. If nothing happens, I will leave first. As he spoke, Nami took cat steps and tried to get through the gap between Luo En and Zoro. Jung. Wado Yiman came out of its sheath, emitting a biting cold light, coupled with Zoro's unsmiling temperament, so scared that Nami shivered and retreated to the corner, and said tremblingly, what do you want to do? What do we want to do? Luo En smiled. 3 big men and a little girl are alone in a room. What do you think we should do? Of course I want to recruit you. Should you pay some price for your actions? Luo En sat on the floor and said with a smile. Nami stared at him, subconsciously clasping her hands in front of her chest, and asked warily, what do you want? Luo En stretched out his finger, pointed at Nami, and whispered, I want you to be mine. Be your person. Ah, Nami's mind went blank and everyone was dumbfounded. She is a thief, but she sells her art and not her body. What is the other person thinking? How could such a decent-looking person have such dirty thoughts towards a little girl like her? I'm not an adult yet. Nami couldn't explain, with despair in her eyes. There were 3 men, and one was holding a knife. She couldn't resist them. Could it be that I am going to be, today? It's okay. I'm an adult. Luo En grinned brightly. He was in a good mood and it was fun to tease Nami. Ace said in disbelief. Luo En, you don't really want to do anything wrong to her, do you? He was a little shocked. Luo En actually has such a taste. Zoro looked at the ceiling, wondering if he should avoid the next scene. Ha 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 ha. Luo En laughed heartily. I'm just teasing you. I want to recruit her into our pirate group. Recruit her? Why? Ace said he didn't understand. He can accept the recruitment of Zoro, who is ambitious and powerful. But then he recruited a rookie who could be stunned by his Conqueror's haki, and said he was a god in desperate situations. Now they want to recruit a guy who steals their treasure. I saw her fate line. She is a genius navigator. A true navigator. Luo En gestured to his eyes with his hand, then pointed at Nami and said. It's this trick again. Ace's eyelids jumped and he became more and more convinced of Luo En's skill. Huh, genius navigator. Me. Nami was a little unsure for a moment, wondering what kind of medicine Luo En was selling in the gourd. If you encounter a thief normally, wouldn't you arrest him and deal with him? This person actually praised her. Luo En promised. As long as you join us, today's matter will be wiped out, and I will help you solve your troubles. Write it off. That's a good offer. Nami's eyes flickered, thinking about how to drag the scene in front of him away, and then looking for an opportunity to escape. Even praising her as a genius navigator is useless, she has more important things to accomplish. Her village is still waiting for her to rescue. Chapter 12 Target. Luffy. Seeing Nami's look, Luo En knew that she was harboring some evil thoughts, so he turned around and said, you guys go out first and I'll have a good talk with her. Ace and Zoro walked out nonchalantly and closed the door behind them. Anyway, Nami's strength can't cause any trouble, so there's nothing to worry about. Luo En originally wanted to talk about the next thing without letting outsiders be present to save some face for Nami. Unexpectedly, Nami got the wrong idea. His relaxed expression suddenly became tense. He covered his chest with both hands and kept walking towards the corner, huddled in. I'm telling you, don't mess around. She really sells her art and not her body. Luo En curled his lips and looked dry, so what did he do? Don't think too much, I have no idea about you. Luo En said helplessly, holding his forehead, I just want to remind you, don't play tricks on your little juju in front of me, I don't allow betrayal. Also, I will help you get rid of Arlong and his gang. Is there still a choice between Arlong and Nami? What did you say? The tears that were originally filling her eyes because of fear suddenly stopped, and Nami was stunned. The other party said that he wanted to help her deal with Arlong. I said, I'll help you deal with Arlong, and you do good work for me. Luo En repeated again. Nami's eyes suddenly flashed with hope. If the other party could really help him deal with Arlong, even if he did something excessive. No, how did the other party know about Arlong? Is it really able to see through a person's destiny? But he is so young, how can he be Arlong's opponent? No, you don't know how powerful Arlong is. You. Nami's face was sullen, a little incoherent. Luo En walked up to him, rubbed Nami's hair with his warm hands, and said seriously, little Nami. It's just Arlong, believe me. After enduring it for so many years, it's time for you to be relieved. Wow. Tears fell uncontrollably, and Nami sobbed. No. I don't believe you, I want to buy the village back with money. Are you stubborn with me? It needs to be trained well. After an hour of training by Luo En, who was affectionate and thoughtful, Nami was finally convinced and willing to join the Spade Pirates. She walked out of the storage warehouse with Luo En with red eyes. Ace looked at Nami's expression, then turned to look at Luo En. If Luo En didn't do anything, he couldn't believe it. After all, everyone cried like that. Zoro even misunderstood Luo En and felt that his conduct was not good. In the end, Luo En looked at Nami with an embarrassed look and explained. Zoro then apologized to Luo En and promised that he would never doubt the captain again. Luo En thought to himself, this is a blessing in disguise, right? After Nami joined, there was one more core member, and sailing on the sea became much safer. The most important thing is that Nami is also an S-class crew member. As a result, Luo En already has 4 S-class crew members. And Luo En's next goal is Luffy, what? You said you were going to Windmill Village to find Luffy. Impossible. I disagree. He has not reached the age to go to sea yet. The sea is dangerous, and I will not allow him to do whatever he wants. Ace heard Luo En's thoughts, directly breaking the defense. Luo En, you'd better give up this idea. Luffy is his weakness. He has such a little brother, he must take good care of him. Luo En sat on the chair, looking more solemn than ever before, and said, Ace, I have thought about this for a long time before telling you. Don't refuse in a hurry. I have my reasons for doing this. This era will become more and more chaotic. The 4 emperors are divided, and new star pirates are emerging one after another. It will be difficult for the world government and Marine to suppress this era. And some people are just born to meet the needs. Arise at the moment. What does it have to do with Luffy? Ace frowned, feeling uneasy. Luo En said seriously. Luffy, he is the one chosen by fate. Luffy ate devil fruit, right? And you all thought it was rubber fruit. In fact, it was the strongest devil fruit in the sea. Renren fruit phantom beast species Nika form. It is the will left by Joey Boy from the previous era. Once the world government discovers Luffy's existence, even if Garp is a marine hero, he can't save Luffy. Quote. Ace was stunned by these words. Isn't Luffy eating rubber fruit? Everyone's fruit phantom beast species. Joey Boy's will. The mortal enemy of world government. Ace was completely confused. It was difficult for him to accept this fact. If what Luo En said is true, doesn't it mean that Luffy's situation is more dangerous than that of the posthumous son of One Piece? Especially Luffy's father is also the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Ace was confused. As for doubting what Luo En said, Ace no longer had any doubts. Luo En has proven his ability to spy on destiny with actions, whether it is Zoro, Usopp, or Nami, all illustrate this. Luo En's statement also stunned Zoro and the others around them, and they all couldn't help but become curious about the guy named Luffy. Chapter 13 Renren Fruit Phantom Beast Species. Luo En, are you really telling the truth? Ace scratched his hair in distress, feeling a little irritated. If it is true, then he must work hard to become stronger and protect Luffy. True or false, you already have the answer in your mind. Luo En said calmly. Recruit Luffy on board, let him use the Universal Training Warehouse to grow up quickly, and at least have the ability to protect himself before his identity is exposed. Besides, is age a problem? Zoro and the others are not necessarily much older than Luffy, but how far do you think the gap between Luffy and them is now? Usopp is about the same age as Luffy, how long do you think it will take for him to widen the gap with Luffy? Besides, haven't you come into contact with hockey before going to sea? Do you know armament hockey? Observation hockey? Even if you awaken Conqueror's hockey, you don't even know what's going on. In East Blue, it's useless. It's just a waste of time. Luo En made another output. Ace frowned and remained silent. He was unable to refute what Luo En said. Because it makes perfect sense. The Universal Training Warehouse is definitely a training cheating device. I don't know where Luo En got this pervert thing from. It is undeniable that it is an opportunity for everyone to become stronger. If Luffy can seize this opportunity. Ace's eyes gradually brightened and he made a decision in his mind. Instead of being indecisive, let Luffy make his own decision. Okay, I'll take you to the kingdom of Goa to find Luffy. However, Luffy's dream has always been to establish his own pirate group. Even if he knew everything, he probably wouldn't join my pirate group based on his personality. After much hesitation, Ace definitely let Luo En and Luffy meet. But he knew Luffy's character and dream, which was to become his own captain and form his own pirate group. Therefore, he is not optimistic about Luffy joining the Spade Pirates. Stop it. I am the captain of the Spade Pirates now. If Luffy doesn't join your pirate group, who's to say he won't join my pirate group? Luo En smiled confidently and stood up from the chair. Ace grinned, waved his fist and said, in half a month, I will take back the captain's position. Ace has always been confident about this. Little did he know that Luo En was already stronger than him. Luo En asked Ace and Nami to determine the route, then waved his hand and ordered, let's go. Kingdom of Goa. In fact, Luo En is also aware of Luffy's character. What Ace said is absolutely correct. Luffy is a guy who will not give in to anything. But Luo En couldn't let go of the power of the Sun God. So, how to trick Luffy into boarding the ship became a question he had to think about. Makino Tavern. Makino was busy when he suddenly heard a familiar voice calling. Makino. Makino moved his hands and looked up in surprise. I saw 5 figures standing at the door. Luo En, Ace, Zoro, Usopp, Nami. However, Makino only knew Ace, and his eyes were immediately locked on Ace, and he said in a surprised tone, Ace. Didn't you go to sea? Why did you come back so soon? Are these your friends? Stop standing around, come in and sit down, and I'll prepare food for you. Makino was very happy after seeing Ace. He warmly welcomed several people into the tavern to sit down and prepared delicious food for them. Zoro also asked for 2 barrels of wine. Luo En was eating the delicious food and couldn't help feeling that life is so rough these days. So, the next target is Sanji. A pirate group without a good cook is not a good pirate group. Ace and Makino introduced a few people, and Makino sincerely asked everyone to take care of Ace. The atmosphere was very harmonious. After everyone had eaten, Ace did not forget the business and said goodbye to Makino and left. Then let's go find Luffy. Ace waved, smiling from the bottom of his heart. Makino said jokingly, go ahead. Luffy has been talking about you since you left. He even lost his appetite when he came here to eat. Ha ha ha, I don't believe anything can affect Luffy's appetite. Ace laughed, and then shouted to the back of the tavern, Village Chief, I'm fine outside, don't worry. I'll come back when I have time. It's up to you. Before leaving, Ace did not forget to say goodbye to the village chief. The group of people gradually left and rushed to the Dayton family in Mount Kolbo. At this time, Luffy was still in the bandits' den. Makino watched the figures disappear from sight before returning to the tavern. He immediately saw the beard blowing and staring up Laboon. That brat Ace brought pirates back even though he was a pirate. It's really disturbing, Laboon said fiercely, looking very unwelcoming. Makino covered his mouth and smiled. I know you are worried about Ace, but the partners around him seem to be reliable, so you don't have to worry. Who is worried about him? I thought that they would come to the tavern to eat and drink, so I wouldn't be so angry. Laboon said harshly. When Makino was clearing the table, he found a bundle on the chair in the corner. When he opened it, it turned out to be a pile of treasures. Makino raised his head, letting the village chief see the pile of treasures, and said seriously, Ace has really made a group of good friends. Laboon was startled, and a look of relief appeared on his face. With such a style of conduct, he definitely wouldn't be the kind of pirate who behaves recklessly. Chapter 14 Pirate, King Luffy. Mount Kolpo. The doorway of the Dayton family. Ace knocked on the door with a smile on his face. Come, who is it? The door opened, and a tall, bearded man with a coxcomb head came out. But after he saw the face in front of him clearly, his whole body froze, as if he suddenly woke up, and stared at Ace dumbfounded. Magura, why is there no movement? Who is here? Came an irritable female voice. It was Dayton. Inside the house, after Dayton heard no movement, his first reaction was that Garp was here. Magula shouted excitedly, Boss, come out quickly and see who is back. What are you yelling about? I'm here. Dayton's voice sounded from far away to near. Not only that, the bandits from the bandit family were attracted. Ah, Ace, why are you here? Dayton was also extremely shocked when he saw Ace, and the cigarette in his mouth flew out. Ace obviously went to see. Dayton was still crying at that time. Why did he come back in a blink of an eye? Dayton, Magula, long time no see. I stopped by to see you. Ace smiled and waved hello. Go home feeling good. By the way, these are my fellow pirates, Luo En, Zoro, Nami, and Usopp. Ace didn't forget to introduce. Pirate companions. Dayton frowned instantly and said angrily, a bunch of young boys know how to do whatever they want. You have to run to the sea to become pirates. Sooner or later, let Garp catch you all. Magula, Dogula, why are you still standing there? Why don't you go cook? Can these boys have enough to eat on the sea? Ah, yes. Under Dayton's roar, the entire pirate family became busy. Zoro and others also breathed a sigh of relief. I originally thought that Dayton would not welcome them, but I didn't expect that Dayton was also a bitch-tongued. Come in, everyone. I have to tell you in advance that this is the house of bandits, so please be patient. Dayton waved to Ace, indicating that he would lead everyone in. Dayton is so stubborn that she is not happy about Ace coming back, especially Ace's friends. She will naturally treat them well. Dayton, please stop being busy. We just finished dinner at Makino Tavern. By the way, isn't Luffy here? Did he go to the mountains again? Ace did not move, but scratched his head and explained. Upon hearing this, Dayton was immediately ignited with anger. Go to the mountains. You pirates stay away from us bandits. When Ace came back, he went to Makino Tavern first. Dayton was instantly jealous. Ace could only smile helplessly, explained with a smile, turned to Luo En and said, Luo En, go to the mountains to find Luffy. It will probably be dark until he comes back. Okay. Luo En nodded, and then said very politely to Dayton, goodbye, Ms. Dayton. Several people left in a hurry. Dayton looked at the backs of these people, and finally his eyes fell on Luo En. His face was full of worry, and he muttered, what are these boys doing with Luffy? The one named Luo En seems to be older than Ace. Don't you know how to bully Ace? They are really troublesome guys. I will interrogate them when they come back in the evening. Soon after, Ace found Luffy. The mountains are their brother's world, and what they are familiar with can no longer be familiar to each other. Aha, Ace ha 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 ha. The moment Luffy saw Ace, his eyes lit up, he laughed and rushed up, calling directly on Ace's head. Ace was knocked back several steps and his head hit a tree. Hey, Luffy, come down quickly, I can't breathe, cough cough. Ace hurriedly pulled Luffy down. Ace, ha 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 ha, why are you back? I'm so bored these days when you're not here. Luffy smiled and put on a bitter face, as if he had been wronged. Ace helplessly raised his forehead, and then introduced. These are my partners, Luo En, Zoro, Nami, and Usopp. Huh, partner. How cool. Ace has a partner. Hello everyone, I am Monkey D. Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy grinned and said the most classic self-introduction. Luo En had been sizing up Luffy, who was dressed in red short sleeves, blue trousers, and a pair of slippers, and greeted him with a smile. Hello, I am Luo En, the captain of Ace. Ace's expression paused, and he wanted to rush forward and fight Luo En immediately. As for explaining this matter as soon as they meet. Is he shameless in front of his younger brother? Ah, a big doubt flashed across Luffy's face. He looked at Ace in confusion and asked, Ace, aren't you going to form your own pirate group? Why is he the captain? Luffy said he couldn't understand. Ace sighed helplessly and explained, it's a long story. I made an agreement with him. He will only be the captain for a month. After 1 month, I will defeat him and take back the captain's position. As that's so, it sounds so troublesome. Luffy picked his nose, still confused. Luo En spoke at this time. Ace used his position as captain to get a piece of news from me. Your brother, Sabo, is still alive. Luffy stopped picking his nose and was stunned. Sabo is still alive. Chapter 15 Luffy joins. When Luffy heard the news, his reaction was even more intense than Ace's. However, Luo En didn't care about the next explanation and left it entirely to Ace. Ace patiently explained for a long time before Luffy believed it. By the end of the explanation, Ace began to doubt himself. Speaking of which, he himself has never met Sabo. Now he has to make Luffy believe it. The penultimate person gives a lecture to the penultimate person. Luffy finally accepted this fact and said with great ambition, since Sabo is still alive, I want to find him. You brat, don't be ridiculous. I don't know where Sabo is yet. Ace shook his head helplessly. Because of Luo En's words, I believed that Sabo was still alive, which was really very hasty. But Luo En's behavior was completely unlike anything he would do to deceive him. The most important thing was that Ace himself had experienced Luo En's clues through the fate line several times. I have a good proposal. Luo En took the opportunity to step forward and said with a smile, Luffy, if you join us, you can go find Sabo with Ace. Huh, join you. I won't. Luffy was stunned for a moment, then simply refused. He was born to be a king. How is it possible to surrender to others? Absolutely impossible. You're just joining temporarily. You're just using the name of our pirate group. When you find Sabo, you can leave at any time. How about it? Luo En continued to persuade without giving up. As long as Luffy agrees to come on board, everything will be easy. I don't. Absolutely not. Luffy looked determined and shook his head like a rattle. Ace stood aside and said nothing. This was Luffy. Don't you want to find Sabo anymore? Luo En asked. Of course not. I will go to sea by myself and have my own partner. Luffy said with great longing. Luo En twitched his lips. By the time you go out to sea, your friends will already be on my boat. Luffy, I want to introduce something to you. Luo En said, summoning the universal training chamber. Oh, so handsome. What is this? Luffy's eyes lit up. After Luo En introduced the function of the universal training chamber, Luffy became even more curious, as smart as he had never doubted its authenticity. Can I go in and try? Luffy asked enthusiastically. Luo En groped his chin, thought for a moment, and took the opportunity to say, as long as you can join us and be a temporary crew member, you can use the universal training warehouse as you like. There is no other way. Luo En can only use conditions to blackmail Luffy. He was communicating with the system in his mind. If the system allows him to become a temporary crew member, will it be able to gain strength? Open black lens bracket can. In fact, there is no need for the host to be so troublesome. As long as he uses the training chamber 3 times, he will be automatically judged as a crew member and his strength will be directly calculated. Close black lens bracket. F*K. Why didn't you tell me this heaven-defying condition earlier? Luo En went crazy. If he had known about this judgment condition, he would have taken the universal training warehouse to the 4 Emperors group. Open black lens bracket. You didn't ask close black lens bracket. The system's answer directly made Luo En spit out blood. At the same time, I was even more shocked by the power of the system. After using it 3 times, that is, 3 days, I was able to be judged as a crew member, to sum up the strength. Luo En suddenly saw hope. The hope of dominating the sea. Whitebeard, Shanks, Kaido, Big Mom. You all wait for me. I want to join you, then I don't want to. Luffy's enthusiasm dissipated and he picked his nose. He may not even realize what the universal training warehouse can bring to him. No, since you are Ace's brother, you can use the training chamber as you like. There is no need to join us at all. And if you want to find Sabo, you happen to be with us. You can use the training chamber to enhance your strength and have someone to take care of you. Don't worry, you are free. After learning the judgment conditions, Luo En immediately changed his mind. Let Luffy join. It's not necessary at all, just let him use the universal training chamber, and then the Sun God's ability will be obtained. Why? Luffy was confused. This was a little too good for him. You are Luffy's brother, so you are one of our own. Why do we care so much about our own people? I was just joking with you just now. You don't need to take it seriously. If you can join us, of course you will be happy, but you don't want to join, I will also completely respect your ideas. Luo En said with dignity. Ace was moved. Luo En, you. At this moment, Ace didn't know how to describe his feelings for Luo En. So selfless, taking such good care of his brother. Maybe he is more suitable to be a captain. As soon as this thought came to his mind, Ace shook his head. The Spade Pirates belong to him, and he would take back the captain's position. Ah, really? That's great. Luffy suddenly laughed happily, and his feelings about Luo En became different. Of course it's true. Luo En nodded and smiled sincerely. Zoro, Nami, and Usopp on the side were almost moved. Is this still a pirate? What a great guy. Chapter 16 Collapse of Garp. Luo En, even if Luffy doesn't join, can he follow us on our sailing adventure? Ace couldn't help but ask. He hopes that Luffy can use the universal training warehouse to grow up quickly. It's a dream come true. Luo En said with a smile. Ace turned to look at Luffy and asked, Luffy, how about going on an adventure with us and waiting until your strength grows to form your own pirate group? But, you can't go to sea until you are 17. Luffy whispered. He actually wants to go to sea, but age is an issue. No, that's just a normal situation. With the universal training warehouse in Luo En's hands, the training speed will be greatly improved. Usopp is the same age as you. If you wait until 3 years later to go to sea, there will be a big gap between you and Usopp. Except for me and Luo En, the three of them are almost the same age as you. Don't worry about age, it is no longer a problem to balance us. Ace said seriously. He really wanted Luffy to grow up with them. Only those who have used the universal training warehouse know how to use the pervert of the training warehouse to get twice the result with half the effort. Luffy was obviously moved, and finally nodded heavily and said, okay. Then I'm going to sea now. He waved his arms high and smiled with uncontrollable excitement on his face. Ace also laughed after hearing Luffy's answer. However, the happiest person is Luo En. The Renren fruit, phantom beast species, and Nika form are about to be obtained. After everyone discussed for a while, they chose to leave without saying goodbye. Mainly because I was afraid of being blocked by Daiden. If Luo En were to do it, he would definitely run away quietly. However, both Ace and Luffy were afraid that Daiden would be worried, so they decided to ask Makino to tell Daiden. The sun sets and the world turns to darkness. The Daiden family is brightly lit. Boss, Ace and Luffy haven't come back yet. It's already dark and the meat has been steamed. Magula scratched his head and asked in confusion. Daiden took a drag on his cigarette and said nonchalantly, a bunch of kids have gone too far. Wait for them. It can be seen that Daiden is very happy that Ace is back. No matter what, we have to wait for them to come back and have dinner together. However, what she waited for was not Ace and Luffy, but Makino, who arrived in a hurry. Makino, why are you here so late? Daiden was stunned and asked subconsciously. Daiden, it's bad, Luffy and Ace went to sea together. Makino said directly. Luffy went to sea with Ace. The Daiden people were immediately dumbfounded. This was a bolt from the blue. Garp left his grandson in his care, but the boy immediately ran out to become a pirate. The sky is falling. That little brat Luffy is so crazy. Is he going to sea to die now? Why would Ace lead Luffy so randomly? What on earth do their brothers want to do? Daiden collapsed at this time, the cigarette in his mouth bounced off and fell to the ground, completely ignoring it. They told me when they passed by the tavern. Ace and Luffy were afraid that you would be worried, so they asked me to tell you. Makino explained. She was also confused. I don't understand the operations of the two brothers Ace and Luffy. Ace had clearly been out at sea for less than a month, so why did he suddenly come back? Then Luffy left with them. In the end, what happened? Daiden realized the problem, but couldn't care less. She rummaged through the box and found the phone she thought she would never need, and dialed Garp's number. Buru buru bulu. Ha 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 ha, I'm Garp. The phone was answered, and there was a burst of laughter. K Mr. Garp. Daiden's hands began to tremble. Huh, Daiden, why are you looking for me so late? What happened? Garp's confused voice came from the phone. Something did happen that I want to tell you. Ace went to sea, Daiden said cautiously. That brat Ace, I already know it. Garp said nonchalantly. It's not that he wasn't worried, but he couldn't stop Ace from pursuing his dream, just like he didn't stop Luffy 3 years later. Ace suddenly came back today. Come back. Garp's voice was startled. Yes, and when we left, Luffy went to sea with him. At the end of Daiden's words, his voice weakened. There was a minute-long silence. Suddenly, a crashing roar came from the phone. Luffy went to sea. Garp held his head, grabbed his hair, and roared in despair. How old is Luffy? When you go to sea at the age of 14, are you so anxious to feed the fish? What's going on? Tell me in detail. Garp said after calming down for a long time. Ace came back today with 4 friends, Luo En, Zoro, Nami, Usopp. The last 3 are all kid guys, mainly the one named Luo En, who looks older than Ace, and look at those few. The kid's attitude towards Luo En is obviously different. Ace is probably being bullied. Daiden directly expressed his opinions without caring about Luo En's life or death. If Luo En were here, he would definitely say to Daiden. I thank you, 18 generations of ancestors, for honoring me like this. Chapter 17 Garp personally takes action. Luo En's growth. Mainly because Daiden felt that Ace was no match for Luo En and could easily be deceived and exploited by the other party. Moreover, Ace called Luo En's name in front of Daiden, and Daiden remembered it. Garp said he would handle the follow-up matters and immediately hung up the phone. You idiots, I must teach you a lesson. Come here. Prepare the boat, I'm going to East Blue. Garp shouted at the door vigorously. His own grandchildren were abducted and he couldn't calm down anymore. Mr. Garp, what happened? Aokiji took off his blindfold and asked with a yawn. Kuzan, if you have nothing to do, just come to my place to sleep. Garp scolded angrily. Aokiji rubbed his eyes and said truthfully, except for Marshal Sengoku and Commander He, no one dares to disturb you. Your place is the cleanest. Mr. Garp, what happened? Aokiji asked in confusion, what made Garp so aggressive? Garp frowned and thought for a moment, then asked, Kuzan, have you heard of a pirate named Luo En in East Blue? Luo En. Aokiji scratched his hair, his eyes lit up and said, Luo En, he is not a big pirate at all. Last time, The Black Daisho pirates collided with the celestial dragons and were executed by Marine. A kid who ran away as a handyman ran away on their ship. My name is Luo En. East Blue, it could very well be that guy. News of the recent arrest was also in East Blue. Aokiji is still very sensitive to this news, after all, it concerns celestial dragons. However, Luo En is just a handyman, and although the intensity of the pursuit is high, it is not that great. What? Is that kid still related to the celestial dragons incident? Garp blew his beard and stared, anger burning in his heart. Ace and Luffy, two troublesome guys, actually found such a guy as their companion. Unforgivable, I know. If you tell Sengoku tomorrow, I'll go back to East Blue and relax. Garp strode out. I understand. Aokiji responded nonchalantly. After Garp left, he continued to catch up on his sleep. In fact, Daiden called just now. With Aokiji's strength, how could he not hear it? He just didn't want to know too many things. Tomorrow he will only repeat Garp's words to Sengoku honestly. As for the names Luo En, Ace, and Luffy, Aokiji will not mention a single word. Luo En doesn't know yet, but Garp is killing himself because of abducting Luffy. Time is always the least valuable thing. In the blink of an eye, 11 days have passed since leaving Windmill Village. In addition, Luo En spent more than 3 days going to Goa Kingdom, and now exactly half a month has passed. For the original members of the Spade Pirates, it is equivalent to the past 8 months, and everyone's strength has been greatly improved. Moreover, there are only the last 2 days left for Luo En and Ace's January period. Open black lens bracket host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Crew. Gal D. Ace. Monkey D. Luffy. Roronoa Zoro. Usopp. Nami. Sanji. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mera Mera fruit close black lens bracket. Renren fruit phantom beast species Nika form unawakened. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's hockey LV4 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Amamant hockey LV6 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey LV4 close black lens bracket. Physical arts LV7. Swordsmanship LV5. Strengthening 6 forms LV5. Kicking skills, sniping skills, cooking skills, navigation skills. Strength. Initial Vice Admiral. During this time, Luo En went to Barati restaurant and kidnapped Sanji. How can a ship not have a good cook? It's a pity that Zapu can't get on the boat. In this way, he has gathered 6 S-class crew members. 10 S-class people are close at hand. Thanks to everyone's efforts, Luo En's strength has reached the Vice Admiral level, his physical skills have exceeded LV7, and his armed color has reached LV6. This is the basis of all strength. The color of knowledge is slightly weaker, and it is LV4. This is because Luo En asked everyone to focus on improving physical skills, which is the foundation of everything. If armament hockey can master the hardening, he can go sideways in East Blue. The enhanced version of the 6 forms is a secret skill that everyone has learned from the Universal Training Warehouse. It is more powerful than the 6 forms. As for other skills, they are all fed back to Luo En one by one. Open black lens bracket crew. Ace close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket Mera Mera fruit close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's hockey LV4 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Amamant hockey LV5 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey LV3 close black lens bracket. Physical arts LV6. Strengthening 6 forms LV4. Open black lens bracket strength. Rear Admiral close black lens bracket. Ace's improvement is also huge, but it's just one level behind Luo En. It is worth mentioning Conqueror's hockey. Ace has reached LV4. The reason why the improvement is rapid is because there is Conqueror's improvement training method in the Universal Training Warehouse. If this matter spreads, it will definitely cause a sensation in the sea. Moreover, Luffy also successfully awakened Conqueror's hockey and developed it into its second gear form, rapidly growing in strength. Chapter 18 Don't light Sanji's cigarette. Crew. Zoro. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket Amamant hockey LV3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey LV2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills LV5 close black lens bracket. Swordsmanship LV5. Strength. Senior Colonel. Zoro's physical skills and sword skills have improved significantly. Armament hockey improved slowly because he followed Luo En's words and spent most of his time honing his physical skills and swordsmanship. The strength of his body is the basis for his swordsmanship. Since the body can be kept full during training in the training cabin, in other words, the body's energy is always kept in perfect condition, making the training effect twice the result with half the effort. Moreover, the guidance effect of the Universal Training Warehouse is much stronger than Zoro's own growth, so his strength is leaping forward. Crew. Luffy. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Renren fruit phantom beast species Nika form, second level. Open black lens bracket armament hockey LV2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket observation hockey, LV2, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical skills, LV4, close black lens bracket. Strength. Major. After Luffy used the universal training chamber on the third day, he was automatically judged as a crew member and fed back his strength to Luo En. Of course, Luffy is not a member of the Spade Pirates in name only. But as long as the Sun God's ability is obtained, Luo En won't care about anything else. Anyway, now he just needs to wait for Luffy to open 5th gear. In the past 10 days, Luffy has made some achievements in his training, especially in terms of physical fitness. Perhaps because of the Phantom Beast species, his physical fitness has increased very quickly. As for Sanji's strength, which barely reaches the level of a major, he has mastered armament hockey and observation hockey, and the feedback he brings to Luo En is getting bigger and bigger. Sanji was a little weaker than Zoro because he boarded the ship later. The improvement of Nami and Usopp is not that fast. After all, they have no foundation at all and everything is starting from scratch. But at least it's not as strong as Zon Wuza's. The day's plan starts in the morning, but for Luo En, it's useless. Luo En got up in front of the bright sun and walked slowly to the deck. Zoro has finished training and came out of the training room, but after coming out, Zoro was still swinging the huge dumbbells. Luo En looked at the 3 knives placed on the ground, Hidao Yuan and 2 inferior machetes, and sighed inwardly. Although the strength of the knife was related to armament hockey, he still had to find a chance to replace Zoro with 2 good knives. Thinking of this, Luo En is hungry. Sanji, is breakfast ready? Luo En turned and shouted toward the kitchen. The blond boy with a cigarette in his mouth and one hand in his pocket came out with a smile on his lips and said, "Breakfast is on the table, go and eat it yourself. Ace is about to finish training, and I will be next." Luo En casually asked for a cigarette from Sanji, lit it and started smoking while leaning on the deck, not in a hurry to eat breakfast. Everyone takes turns entering the training chamber, which is what he wants to see most. Because every time a person enters, his strength will become stronger. What's more, these guys even arranged their training schedules on their own initiative, and they were very good at it. Luo En was very pleased about this. Until now, everyone still thinks that Luo En is not strong. Especially knowing that Ace and Luo En have a 1-month appointment, I can't help but worry about the upcoming challenges for Luo En. After more than a minute, Luo En only smoked half of the cigarette in his hand. The door of the training room opened and Ace came out. "I feel like my strength has improved a lot. Luo En, this training chamber is amazing." Even though he had used the training chamber many times, Ace still couldn't help but sigh. "Isn't this science?" Ace was confused. Zoro echoed from the side. "It would be great if I could practice for a few more hours." Luo En rolled his eyes when he heard this. "1 day is worth 15 days, are you still not satisfied? Then I'll go in first." Sanji handed Luo En another cigarette and couldn't wait to walk into the training room. Luo En naturally took the cigarette and told him angrily, "Practice well and stop practicing your cooking skills in there." "I know, it won't happen this time." Sanji's voice came, and then he entered the training chamber. He now has full cooking skills. Luo En sighed. Damn this kid Sanji, he actually used the training warehouse to practice cooking skills at first. Luo En didn't notice it at first, but slowly he realized something was wrong. Every time Sanji practiced, he couldn't feel his strength increasing. Instead, the cooking level on the panel changed from LV8 to LV10. Only then did he realize that Sanji was wasting his resources. So Sanji was severely punished. Ace stretched out his finger, lit the cigarette for Luo En, and said expectantly, "Luo En, it will be 1 month soon. It's going to be a month and it's time for my captain's position to be returned to me. And there are still 2 days until January." Hearing this, Luo En put his hand on Ace's shoulder and said mysteriously, "For the sake of our relationship as brothers, I would like to remind you, you must not light a cigarette for Sanji." "Why?" Ace looked confused. "Don't worry about why, just remember it." Luo En couldn't explain clearly. Did he just say that everyone who lit cigarettes for Sanji died? Chapter 19, Solving Arlong. Everyone continued sailing for an hour and arrived at their destination. Cocoa West Village. Luo En is here to solve Nami's troubles. A group of people marched toward Arlong Paradise. The leader, with black hair and black eyes, was none other than Luo En. Ace, Zoro, Luffy, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami all followed closely behind. Nami's nervousness was visible to the naked eye, and she whispered, "Luo En, we'd better inquire about the news first, and then rush to the door." "Don't worry, Nami, it's just the dragon pirates. Even if you don't believe in Ace's fire or Zoro's sword, you still have to believe in your cheerful, handsome captain, right?" Ace twitched the corner of his mouth and added silently in his mind, "Soon you will have to return the captain's position to me." Nami gave an ugly smile. To be honest, she really couldn't smile now. "Nami-san, I will protect you." Sanji surrounded Nami, his eyes wide with joy. Seeing his appearance, Nami became even less confident. Zoro said coolly, "Nami, I will help you chop down that Arlong." Luffy was eager to try. "Finally there's going to be a battle, just in time to test my strength, he. Usopp is extremely tired. Is this the life of a pirate? Every day I'm either fighting other pirates or on the road to fight. It's crazy. Arlong and his gang are enjoying life at the station. Arlong is tall, wearing shorts and patterned short sleeves, with his arms open, lying leisurely on a lounge chair. Captain, Nami hasn't been back for a long time. Kruby crossed his arms and said with a frown. Ju, who is also a cadre with him, then asked, will she run away? Scared, ha ha ha. No way, she is the caged bird that Lousy likes. She is destined to draw a chart for Lousy for a lifetime. Arlong put down the red wine glass and laughed confidently. Xiaoba was also on the side, silent. Suddenly, a scorching wave of air surged in from outside the door. Boom. A big hole was blown out of the door in the courtyard wall. The dazzling fire slowly dissipated. Arlong and several other cadres were all stunned, unable to react for a while. Is this someone coming to trouble them? Does anyone in East Blue dare to cause trouble for them? Incredible. Then, several young figures walked in. Arlong and others immediately noticed Nami, who looked a little pale. Ha ha ha, Nami, your behavior seems to be provoking Lousy. Arlong's eyes flashed with a fierce luster, and he raised his head and laughed. You dare to destroy Arlong Paradise. You will all die, Kruby said coldly. Xiaoba drew out 8 knives vigilantly. All the pirates stationed at the station rushed over and surrounded Luo En and the others. Nami's face became paler. After all, Arlong was his lingering nightmare. The moment she saw Arlong, she suddenly felt fear and even a little regretful. Why did she agree to Luo En without knowing it? This would harm them. After these days of contact, Nami knows that they are all good people. But now, it's too late to say anything. This is no longer an arrow on the string, but the arrows have been shot at the enemy's door. Arlong, right, I'll give you a minute to prepare. Write a suicide note quickly. If you don't finish it, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Luo En put his hands in his pockets and said directly. Dead silence. When Luo En finished saying this, the scene became audible. Suddenly, laughter breaks out. Ha ha ha, what is he talking about? I'm laughing so hard. Doesn't he know the name of our captain? How dare he come here to die? What nonsense are you talking about, a boy who doesn't have all his hair? Ha 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 ha. All the pirates in the Arlong pirates laughed arrogantly. Even Arlong laughed so hard. It's not that they have a low point of laughter, but Luo En's words are just too funny. Luo En had a smile on his lips and counted silently in his heart. Time's up. You have no chance. Ace, I leave it to you. Luo En turned around and said. The corners of Ace's mouth twitched, asking me to come again. Don't call me this next time. What I awakened was Conqueror's hockey. You asked me to use it to clean up stray fish every time. Ace complained in a low voice, and then took a step forward. Luo En seemed like he didn't hear Ace's complaints. Nonsense, your current Conqueror's hockey can also clean up trash fish, otherwise it is just a decoration. As long as it doesn't reach the level of being domineering, Conqueror's hockey is just like that, just saying it nicely and pretending to be effective. Seeing Ace's actions, the laughter slowly stopped. Everyone wanted to see what Ace was going to do. If you don't laugh, you won't have a chance. I'm sorry. Ace said softly. As the last syllable fell, his pupils suddenly contracted. A terrifying aura erupted from him, covering the entire place like a tide. Except for Arlong and the 3 cadre pirates, everyone else's eyes turned white and they fainted. This time, Ace's Conqueror's hockey has managed not to accidentally hurt his own people. As this, Conqueror's hockey, Arlong sat up suddenly, his expression becoming horrified. In East Blue, I actually met a kid who awakened Conqueror's hockey. Chapter 20. It's you, Nami. I didn't expect you to come prepared. Arlong's eyes flashed with a sinister light, and he stared at Nami, like a chilling lion majesty. It seems that after dealing with these reckless guys, we have to punish the disobedient Nami. Arlong thought silently, and the smile on his lips became more wanton, as if he thought of some fun way to punish Nami. Nami's body was shaking and she was under great pressure. Suddenly, a figure stood in front of Nami. It was Luo En. He glanced at Arlong and said coldly, to be honest, if it weren't for giving my crew a chance to perform, I would hammer you to death myself. Ace shook his head helplessly, thinking that Luo En was exaggerating. Doesn't he know Luo En's strength yet? Nami's delicate body trembled, and she seemed to feel the seriousness in those words, and felt an extraordinarily reassuring emotion in her heart. So what if it's Conqueror's hockey? Lousy is the pirate with the highest bounty in East Blue. You ants must die. Humans, all deserve to die. Arlong roared and took the initiative to attack. Ace turned his head and exchanged glances with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, and then said, leave this guy to me, and you can do whatever you want with the rest. Then, the fire fist blasted out. Don't worry about whether the fire fist is worth it or not. Every time you take a shot, you must have a starting position. The flames all over the sky turned into a huge fist, and the roaring flames scorched the surrounding air. After the flames, there is Ace's figure. Before the fire fist, there was Arlong's panic expression. The ability of Logia Devil Fruit was almost unsolvable before entering the new world. Now, the only word that can describe Ace is powerful. Luffy and Zoro were not idle either and took action one after another. Luffy originally wanted to challenge Arlong, but every time he grabbed the ace, he could only choose one cadre to take action. Sanji started the first stage of the Devil's Kick, and once armament hockey covered it, he was invincible. Zoro only uses Wado Ikimonji to fight the single sword style against the 8-sword style. Luo En protects Nami behind him, very leisurely. Usopp was also behind him, his slingshot always on alert. Arlong dodged at full speed to avoid Ace's fire fist. However, the power of the fire fist did not decrease at all, and it blasted straight out. Boom! A huge sound came from behind Arlong, the fire mercilessly wiped out everything, and the tall building collapsed. Arlong turned around with a horrified expression, and then looked at Ace with a monster look on his face. Damn, this kind of monster can be encountered in East Blue. The huge building at the back has been destroyed, which means that Arlong's business over the years has been wiped out in an instant. Damn human. Lousy is going to kill you. Arlong was extremely angry and began to attack Ace, fighting for his life or death. But Mera Mera fruit is very repressive. Moreover, even without the power of Mera Mera fruit, Arlong may not be able to defeat Ace. After a fierce battle, Arlong finally found the opportunity. Same on Gear Car. Arlong's burly body spun over the flames, opened its huge mouth, exposed its sharp teeth with amazing bite force, and bit Ace's shoulder. However, the scene in his mind of biting the opponent into pieces did not appear. It didn't feel like he was biting a person, but like he was biting on an indestructible iron plate, even harder than his teeth. Ace's lips curled up into a smile, and he whispered softly, "You were fooled." He deliberately lured Arlong closer, and then instantly covered armament hockey, resisting Arlong's attack, and then punched out. Terrifying air waves bombarded Arlong's arm. Boom. Mera Mera fruit. Explosion. The force of the explosion directly lifted Arlong away and tore the flesh and blood on his arm, leaving a burning smell. When he stood still, the arm that had been attacked was hanging weakly, and the blackened bones were still visible at the wound. The pain made Arlong sweat profusely, almost losing his mind, and rushed towards Ace as if he was desperate. But no one noticed the cunning light flashing in Arlong's eyes. Ace felt that Arlong's strength was just that, and he was careless for a moment. When he was about to take action, Arlong suddenly increased his speed and bumped into Ace. Then the two of them flew backward together. Not good. When Ace noticed the pond behind him, he was startled and instantly understood what Arlong was thinking. The other party was going to use Devil Fruit's weakness to deal with him. When this thought flashed through their minds, Ace and Arlong had already fallen into the huge swimming pool. Plop. The rising waves attracted Luo En's attention. He shook his head and sighed. It seems I have to take action. The moment Ace came into contact with the sea water, his whole body became weak and it was difficult to breathe. He didn't expect Arlong to be so cunning, and he was furious in his heart, but the restrained effect of Devil Fruit made it impossible for him to resist. Arlong rushed up with a ferocious smile and hit Ace with a water bomb, sending him sinking. In the water, it's Lousy's world. Arlong glanced at his injured arm and dived to end Ace's life. But at this critical moment, a fist fell on Arlong's face from the side, almost knocking his face crooked. Arlong screamed and rolled to the side. He came back to his senses and looked at the person who made the move, with a surprised look on his face. It's you. Chapter 21 Sudden Marine Vice Admiral. Yes, it was Luo En who rescued Ace. Ace is still too young and powerful, but Arlong calculated it. However, this is also the most effective way to deal with demon fruit power, which shows that Arlong still has a lot of combat experience. Unfortunately, he met Luo En. I said, I am their captain. Why do you think I am weak? Luo En shook his head helplessly, still moving freely in the water. So what? The water is a natural battlefield for fishmen. Lousy is invincible here. Arlong roared angrily, swinging his body and stabbing Luo En with his long, jagged nose. Luo En has a fighting spirit on his face. Uncle, I just like to deal with pretenders like you. Armament hockey covers the hands and is partially armed. Observation hockey was activated to capture Arlong's movement. Brush. With lightning speed, Luo En grabbed Arlong's nose with one hand. In the opponent's frightened eyes, he punched out. Oh, no, it should have been a flurry of punches. The violent fists were like falling on sandbags, extremely lethal and extremely dense at the same time. In the middle of Luo En's fight, Arlong lost consciousness. Nonsense. No matter how strong the fishman is, he can't take Armament Hockey's fist with his head. After Luo En beat Arlong until he couldn't take care of himself, he threw him out of the water and then quickly dived to retrieve the unconscious Ace. Because of the suffocation in the sea water, Ace did not see Luo En take action. When Ace was knocked into the sea by Arlong, Nami's face became extremely pale. If Ace loses, can the rest of the team defeat Arlong? Just when she was panicking, the man stood up and jumped into the water without saying a word. Huh, what are Luo En doing in there? Nami's heart was in her throat. Since she boarded the ship, Luo En has never even entered the training chamber, not to mention showing any strength. What kind of strength can such a person have? Why? Why should he give away his head? Nami was confused. But within half a minute, a figure broke out of the water, and the splash of water wet Nami's hair. She stared blankly at Arlong, who fell in front of her like a dead dog. His mouth was so big that he could fit several sausages in it. Arlong. There was shock in her beautiful eyes. Arlong was defeated. Immediately afterwards, Luo En carried Ace out of the water and climbed onto the shore. Ace gradually woke up without the restraint of sea water. The first thing he did after waking up was to sit up and look for the enemy. That guy dared to trick him, he would never forgive him. But the next scene stunned him. The guy he wanted to kill was lying next to him with a bloody head, his weak breathing seemed to stop at any time. If Luo En hadn't kept his hand just now, Arlong's brains would have been beaten out. What's going on? Who did it? Ace was shocked. Arlong is quite powerful, so he won't be eliminated so soon, right? After Zoro and others finished dealing with their opponents, they all came closer. Seeing Arlong's miserable state, they felt sad in their hearts, they were still too gentle. Ace glanced around and found that everyone was shaking their heads, indicating that it was not them. In the end, Ace was between Luo En and Nami, and chose to look at Nami. Luo En rolled his eyes at the side and complained in his heart, "You are so unconfident in me. You would rather believe that Nami killed Arlong than think it was me. I am really derelict in my duty as a captain." Nami and Ace looked at each other, and finally stretched out their little hands and pointed at Luo En carefully. "Don't look at me, he did it, not me." Ace's shocked worldview was collapsing. He turned his head to look at Luo En and almost lost his voice. "Luo En. Did you kill this guy?" Luo En smiled slightly and put his hands in his trouser pockets, showing off his superior demeanor. "Why are you talking to your savior? Can you show more respect?" "Impossible. How do you have the strength to defeat him? What happened just now?" Ace looked around blankly, thinking about what just happened. Unfortunately, he was unconscious in the water and had no idea what was happening. But no matter what, he would not believe that Arlong was defeated by Luo En. He knew Luo En's strength very well. Back then, he could beat Luo En with almost one hand. And Luo En has never practiced in a training warehouse, how could his strength increase? Ace didn't believe it at all. But Luo En really jumped into the swimming pool just now. Luffy picked his nose and said incomprehensively. "Luo En, what happened in the water just now?" Ace looked at Luo En with confusion, hoping to get an answer. However, before Luo En could say anything, a group of Marines rushed in from the gate. "Come here. Surround them. Don't let anyone go." A Marine general with a majestic expression walked in. Luo En immediately shrank his eyes. That outfit. Marine Vice Admiral. And Colonel Mouse, who colluded with Arlong, humbly followed the Marine Vice Admiral. Chapter 22 Ace, Queen. Mozambia is a dark-skinned man with short dark gray hair and a scar on the left side of his face, which was left when he served in the Marines in his early years. He wore a brown suit with a blue shirt and tie, and a standard Marine jacket draped over his shoulders. He is the Marine Vice Admiral who was chasing Luo En this time. However, he did not take Luo En seriously at first, but after receiving an order from Garp to arrest Luo En and others as soon as possible, Mobi Sanya became serious and surrounded Luo En and others here. After Colonel Mouse came in, his eyes instantly became dull. Because he saw Arlong beaten like a dead dog on the ground, and was stunned for a moment. His partner was actually eliminated. But soon, a cunning light flashed in Colonel Mouse's small eyes. "It would be better if Arlong is dealt with, so that no one will know my details. As for this group of reckless people, naturally Mobi Sanya Vice Admiral can deal with them. Luo En, you have offended the celestial dragons, accept the trial honestly, you have no way to escape." Mobi Sanya said righteously, while throwing out Luo En's image and photo. Looking at the photo floating on the ground, Luo En felt happy. It turned out to be the Vice Admiral of the department. Fortunately, there was no conflict with the Marine who was chasing me before. With Luo En's previous strength, there would be no room for resistance. But it's different now. Ace looked at the photos on the ground and was confused. He asked in confusion, "Luo En, what on earth did you do? It turns out that Marine has been chasing you, not me." At this moment, Ace suddenly woke up and finally came to his senses. It turns out that the source of being chased by Marine is Luo En. Let's talk about this later. Let's solve the immediate trouble first. Luo En looked around and then ordered, "Ace, you hold off the Marine Vice Admiral." Marine Vice Admiral. The corners of Ace's mouth twitched. Difficult guys always let him come. He complained in his heart, but he still launched an attack without hesitation. The anger he had just been holding in his heart just happened to be vented. "Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. Kill that snarky guy. He is also responsible for colluding with Arlong to harm Nami." Immediately afterwards, Luo En pointed at the Mouse Colonel and said, "Colonel Mouse. Damn it, who did lousy provoke? Then let's make a big fuss." He. Luffy's fist stretched out like rubber and rushed into Marine. There was a commotion immediately. Zoro unsheathed 3 swords and went straight to the Mouse Colonel. Sanji angrily opens the Devil's Wind kick. Hurting Nami-san is unforgivable. Men who bully women are unforgivable. Especially Nami-san. Usopp pulled up his slingshot and covered Luo En and Nami as they retreated. Luo En. There were tears in the corners of Nami's eyes. "I didn't expect that everyone would go to such an extent for her, and I was extremely touched." Luo En patted her head. "Don't cry, Arlong has been solved, and the mouse can't escape. It's just that Marine is coming with a menacing force, I'm afraid I can't stop." "Yes, I understand," Nami said with a cry. There should be no chance to say hello to her sister. At the same time, fierce fighting broke out. The anger Ace had just received from Arlong exploded into flames and blasted towards Mobi Sanya mercilessly. However, to be able to achieve the position of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, Mobi Sanya is not a flower vase. A slash that entangled armament hockey was swung out, tearing through the sea of fire and blasting towards Ace. Armament hockey. Ace narrowed his eyes, his heart sinking slightly. Both hands were wrapped around the weapon color at the same time, and he blocked the slash with his fists. Oh, you know how to armament hockey. It's really rare in East Blue. Moby Sonya was slightly surprised, and then took action even more fiercely. Even though Ace has the power of Mera Mera fruit, he still inevitably falls into a disadvantage. Fortunately, it is not bright in the east but bright in the west. Ace has no advantage, and neither does Colonel Mouse. After being slashed by Zoro and running around, Sanji finally caught the opportunity and kicked the Mouse Colonel away. Moby Sonya Vice Admiral save me. Colonel Mouse looked at the approaching sword light and desperately called for help. Moby Sonya made a sudden move and immediately abandoned Ace to rescue Colonel Mouse. This officer was a Marine officer after all, and he could not ignore death without rescuing him. When Zoro saw this, the three-sword style broke out. Three swordsman style. Ghost Slayer. Moby Sonya rushed out and landed a powerful slash, which collided with Zoro's slash. The difference in strength caused Zoro to fly backwards. Green algae head. Sanji immediately abandoned the Mouse Colonel and supported Zoro. As expected, he was also blown away. Fortunately, Ace arrived and blocked Moby Sonya again. But Colonel Mouse also got a break and was safe. Just when Colonel Mouse thought the situation was decided, a slingshot bullet wrapped in armed colors penetrated his head. Usopp took action tremblingly. This was his first time to kill someone. His face was extremely pale, but he still forced a smile and said, "Nami, I helped you get revenge." At this moment, Nami was so moved that she burst into tears and cried loudly. Luo En picked up Nami and yelled at Zoro and Sanji, who were still trying to fight. Target solved, retreat. Ace, you are the queen, you three take cover. Ace gritted his teeth and cursed fiercely in his heart. That's not what Captain does. Chapter the 23rd of January appointment arrives. Battle captains never take action. Retreat captain rushes to the first place. Ace said that Lousy was really speechless. Although Luo En is not weaker than Marine Vice Admiral, if it breaks out completely, it is possible to kill Moby Sonya in front of him. But he didn't want to reveal his strength. Marine knew he was a handyman pirate, but still sent out the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral's forces to hunt him down. If he knew he had Vice Admiral's strength, would Admiral have taken action? That's not good. Therefore, Luo En is still dominated by Go. When fifth gear is turned on, the four emperors are all younger brothers. Don't rush. This is really hard for Ace. When he stops Moby Sonya, he still has to think of a way to retreat. Rubber rubber, machine gun. Luffy charged up and unleashed a flurry of machine gun fire to help Ace share the pressure. Ace took this opportunity to charge up and explode. Hen Shang Gang. Fierce flames surged out, forming a large flame area in front of Ace, isolating him from Moby Sonya. Moby Sonya's face was gloomy, staring at the raging sea of fire in front of him. A trace of anger flashed in his eyes. It was a shame that a few brats killed a Marine colonel in front of him. Thinking of this, he slowly formed a sharp and huge slash in his hand, trying to split the sea of fire blocking his way. But the next second, the situation suddenly occurred unexpectedly. Three-sword style, 108 troubles wind. Zoro saw the opportunity and took action, directly raising Ace's flames. Taking advantage of this wind, the flames suddenly expanded several times. Even many Marines were swallowed up by the sea of fire, and their bodies were stained with flames. The flames along the surrounding buildings were about to destroy them. Marines were all surrounded inside, and Moby Sonya gritted his teeth and could only bite the bullet and order a retreat. Escape this sea of fire for now. Hey, Ace, Luffy, let's go. Zoro slowly sheathed the knife and greeted from a distance. Ha ha ha, that's great, Zoro. Luffy laughed and praised Zoro, retreating side by side with Ace. Several people returned to the pirate ship and immediately drove the pirate ship away. Marine Vice Admiral, avoid it if you can. Moby Sonya then came to the coast, looked at the ships gradually disappearing from sight, and dialed the phone number. Buru Buru Bulu. Vice Admiral Garp. The arrest of Luo En failed. They defeated the dragon pirates and killed Colonel Mouse. They should pass through Logue Town next. Moby Sonya reported respectfully. Ha 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 ha. Then I'll be waiting for them in Logue Town. Garp's unbridled laughter came from the phone bug. He has made up his mind to teach those boys a lesson. Comma 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 comma. After the Spade Pirates leave, the next route is indeed Logue Town. However, everyone didn't know that they were about to be greeted by a terrifying old guy. 2 days flew by while the members of the Spade Pirates were training. In the middle of the night, just after midnight, Ace woke up Luo En in high spirits. Luo En, 1 month is up. It's time to return the captain's position to me. Ace had a confident smile on his face. That night, they found an island, docked the boat, and hunted game for dinner. Now, everyone was resting by the campfire. When Ace made such a fuss, not only Luo En woke up, but also Luffy and Zoro. Mainly because of the mentality of just watching the fun. Luffy muttered, "If I become the captain by defeating the captain, can I defeat Luo En and become the captain of this ship?" Suddenly a novel idea came to his mind. Originally he thought of gathering his friends, but he felt inexplicably comfortable getting along with these people, and Luffy couldn't help but have the idea of annexing the Spade Pirates. Bang bang. After Ace heard this, he hit Luffy on the head twice and said, "Luffy, I will be the captain in the future." If you want to challenge me, you must think clearly about the consequences. Hey, I will definitely defeat you, Luffy said with confidence. Wait, Luo En rubbed his eyes, woke up, stopped Ace and said, who said the captain's position is yours? Did you defeat me? Ace patted Luo En on the shoulder and lowered his voice and said, Luo En, that's it. I've let you be the captain for a month. You should be satisfied, right? It's better to return the captain position to me. I'll save more. In the competition, you will be beaten again. A mysterious smile appeared on the corner of Luo En's mouth and he said, Ace, everything must be according to the rules. If you really want to be the captain, you can only challenge me. But think about it, don't blame me for not reminding you, it hurts when I hit someone. Hearing Luo En's arrogant words, Ace was also angry and said directly, I should say this. It hurts more if I hit someone. Then let's compete. Since Luo En refused to abdicate honestly, Ace could only use force. We're really going to take action. Who do you think will win? Usopp looked at Luo En and Ace in a daze, and asked Luffy and others. Chapter 24 Ace is dumbfounded. Everyone was shocked. As far as I know. Our captain doesn't seem to have the strength, right? Zoro said helplessly, holding Hidao Yuen in his arms. Sanji slowly shook his head, I'm not optimistic about the captain either. Hey, have you all forgotten who solved Arlong? It was the captain. Usopp defended loudly, seeming to be canvassing for Luo En. But, the captain also said it was a coincidence. Nami said with a hint of worry. Luo En explained what happened underwater that day. When he jumped to save Ace, he hit Arlong, and then he punched Arlong, and this was the result. Usopp, are you optimistic about the captain? Sanji took a puff of cigarette and asked in disbelief. Usopp said matter-of-factly, how is it possible? Ace blocked the naval headquarters vice admiral. I am very optimistic about him. Zoro, Sanji, Nami. The three of them were speechless. I thought Usopp was a true believer in Luo En. I have been here for a long time to enliven the atmosphere. Luffy, what about you? Zoro looked at Luffy and asked seriously. Luffy should be optimistic about Ace, that's his brother. Nami said while looking at Luffy. Luffy scratched his head with a dumbfounded expression and said seriously, I think Luo En will win. Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami all fell down. No, Luffy, you can see such an obvious result wrong. How could Captain Luo En beat Ace? Usopp retorted helplessly. In the distance, Luo En and Ace, who were holding their posture, clearly heard the discussion of Luffy and others. Luo En, they don't think much of you. Ace had a relaxed smile on his face, feeling happy that he was about to regain his position as captain. Luo En turned to look at Luffy and praised. Ace, you are really not as good as Luffy, he has seen an incredible future. Ace responded lazily to Luo En's words. What do you see in the future? Luffy's observation haki is not as strong as his, so what future can he see? Suppressing the chaotic thoughts in his mind, Ace bent his legs slightly and rushed towards Luo En with all his strength, like a predatory beast, waving his fists and heading straight towards Luo En. Luo En still had a faint smile on his lips, smiling and unmoved at all. But the moment Ace's fist fell, the whole person disappeared in an instant, leaving only a series of erratic afterimages. The moment Ace's fist missed, he felt great surprise in his heart. Did he avoid it? How can it be? Although he didn't use all his strength, with Luo En's strength, it shouldn't be possible to avoid it, right? Ace was a little dumbfounded. In just a moment, his arm was firmly grasped by a pair of big hands. At some point, Luo En appeared in front of Ace again, with his back to Ace. Brush. An over-the-shoulder throw knocked Ace out. What? Ace was even more shocked. Is this still Luo En? Is it the Luo En who he tortured countless times? He actually threw him out. Although Ace was shocked, his body turned into flames instinctively, and he quickly stabilized his body and landed on the ground. Usopp was stunned and his eyes widened. Luo En threw Ace out. I didn't see the speed clearly just now. Zoro's expression became solemn. Sanji paused with the cigarette in his hand and said in disbelief, is Luo En really strong? Luo En, have you been hiding your strength? Ace said in disbelief. The speed just now was definitely not Luo En's normal speed. And the force of his attack made him unable to compete. Hiding my strength. I have never hidden my strength. I have always said that I am strong, but you don't believe it. Luo En spread his hands with helplessness on his face. Lousy throws the truth in your faces every day, but you turn a deaf ear. Ace shook his arm and said seriously, no matter whether you hide your strength or not, the captain's position must be mine. Luo En, be careful, I have to be serious. As soon as the words fell, a line of fire burned behind Ace and spread rapidly along his arms. Two palms filled with flames wanted to catch Luo En. At the same time, Ace's feet erupted with a burst of fierce flames, drawing a circular flame barrier from the ground, trapping Luo En inside. High speed. Then confine you with flames. Luo En, if you can't escape, just admit defeat. Ace's voice rang in Luo En's ears, and the flame-filled Ace had already arrived in front of him. Luo En narrowed his eyes, a sharp light flashed in his eyes, and his naturally hanging palms were silently covered with a layer of deep and lustrous material. Armament haki, covered. Ace, who originally thought he had a chance to win, was suddenly stunned. Because his arm transformed into flames was caught. Ace's pupils shrank, he looked down in disbelief and saw the palm that passed through the flames. Cover armament Hockey's palm. Hockey. When did you master Hockey? Ace's face was full of shock, and his mouth was so open that he almost stuffed 3 big goose eggs. The armament Hockey revealed by Luo En completely shocked Ace. Obviously I have never entered the training warehouse once. When did you master Hockey? Ace CPU is spinning crazily, and the brain circuit is about to be exploded. Where does Luo En's strength come from? Chapter 25 Luo En reveals his strength. Not to mention Ace, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami who were watching the battle were so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths. Luo En is hidden too deeply. You are obviously fishing every day, but in the end, you have even mastered armament Hockey. Luffy couldn't help laughing and said, ha 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 ha, I just said Luo En is very strong. In the end, only Luffy, the only one who did not join the pirate group, believed in Luo En. In that case, then I will take action with all my strength. Ace will not give up no matter what, his expression is more serious than ever, and his other fist is filled with flames. Fire punch. Although I don't know how much strength Luo En hides, but now that he has mastered armament Hockey, he doesn't need to hold back. Therefore, a direct fire punch to the face. The flaming fist was filled with crackling sounds, and the hot air waves blew the hair on Luo En's forehead. His narrowed eyes became brighter, and Luo En's smile became more mysterious. One of his palms gripped Ace's arm, his free hand fisting lightly. The moment he clenched his fist, a scorching flame suddenly erupted. Fire punch. Luo En stopped hiding and directly used the power of Mera Mera fruit to return a fire punch. Boom. 2 flaming fists collided in front of Luo En and Ace, and the terrifying air waves rolled up, blowing the 2 of them and they couldn't help but retreat. The moment he landed, Ace was stunned. He pointed at Luo En in horror, looking at a monster, and asked hysterically, how is that possible? How can you know the power of Mera Mera fruit? Luo En, what on earth have you done? Ace was completely confused. Oh my god, what is that? How could Luo En use the power of Mera Mera fruit? What's going on? The power of devil fruit can only be possessed by one person. What's going on with Luo En's flame? Is it a similar ability? Luffy and Zoro were all shocked. Luo En, how on earth can he use fire? Luo En, what's going on? Ace no longer cared about the competition and quickly rushed to Luo En to ask, wanting to get the answer. Luffy and others also came closer. They were also curious, how could 2 people use the same devil fruit ability? Don't get excited. Actually, I accidentally ate a devil fruit before. Luo En began to make up. His strength had to be revealed. Although the Universal Training Warehouse can determine that people who have practiced 3 times are crew members, the premise is that Luo En must be the captain. Therefore, it is impossible for Luo En to give in. When? Ace asked confused. He and Luo En have always been together, and they didn't get any devil fruit at all. Didn't we rob this pirate ship? A week ago, I found a treasure box in the cabinet in the room. There was an orange with white patterns in the treasure box. I thought it was an ordinary fruit, and then I ate it, but I didn't expect it. Since then, I have gained an ability. Copy. Luo En blames devil fruit as the excuse, copy fruit. Copy. Is it a copy of the fruit? Sanji asked confused. He had seen the devil fruit illustrated book and didn't remember that there was such a devil fruit. I don't know. Anyway, I can copy other people's power. Luo En spread his hands and blamed everything on not knowing. Hearing that Luo En had acquired such inexplicable abilities, everyone couldn't help but lament his heaven-defying luck. Only Ace was still dissatisfied and threatened. Even if you hide your strength and can copy it, I will not lose to you. Luo En, continue our fight. Ace couldn't accept it. The captain's position that you had been looking forward to for a month just slipped away before your eyes. He can't accept it. Luo En had no choice but to speak with his strength. In the subsequent battle, Luo En held down Ace and beat him up. No fight, no fight. Luo En, even if you copy my power, how can you be so much stronger than me? Ace lay on the ground panting, confused. Beneath him was the scorched earth. The original lawn was burned by the battle between the 2. Luo En said seriously, this fruit has greatly improved my physical fitness. Besides, who said I can copy someone's power? Upon hearing this answer, Ace's eyes widened in disbelief. More than just copying the power of one person. What kind of fruit is this? 2 pervert. At this time, a white light like a fish belly appeared on the horizon, and it was dawn. The battle between Luo En and Ace lasted for half a night. Luo En did not attack harshly, but just like Ace had fought with him, tit for tat. There were cigarette butts piled on the ground at Sanji's feet. He smoked all night and recalled the whole night. He memorized the Devil Fruit illustrated book more than 3,000 times, but he couldn't find the Devil Fruit related to the ability to copy. Is the Devil Fruit illustrated book I saw fake? Sanji has begun to doubt himself. Zoro couldn't help but laugh when he saw Luo En defending the captain's status and identity. This is what a captain looks like. After watching the battle, Zoro has set a short-term goal of surpassing Luo En. Of course, the ultimate goal is Hawkeye.